It's time for Shawn and Maya in the morning.
Quick pitch to Walter, looking for the record, cuts back, he's got it, he's out of it at 25 and the 26-yard line. Walter Payton becomes the National Football League all-time leading rusher. Jordan, open, Chicago with the lead. The Chicago Bulls have won their 6th NBA championship. Chicago has won the Stanley Cup. Palmero over the head of Jenks. Uribe charges, throws, out! And the White Sox have won the World Series.
A little bouncer slowly toward Bryant. He will glove it, throw to Rizzo.
It's in time, and the Chicago Cubs win the World Series.
What up, what up, what up? Welcome to Shawn and Maya in the morning on this TGI Mickey Ficky Friday, baby. It's the weekend, baby. And I'm fired up. It's going to be a beautiful day today here in the Shy. Guys, thanks for tuning in. I'm your boy, the Superback, Shawn Sierra. And man, oh man, do we have a wonderful, wonderful show. Man, people are jumping in already. I love it. I like it. I like it a lot. Guys, listen, if you're watching this on Facebook Live, well, then I guess you found us on Facebook. Now, if you're watching this on our app, then I guess you found us on our app. But you know what? If you're not, do me a favor. Download the app. Make sure you download the app wherever you get your apps from. Amazon, Google Play, iTunes, wherever you get them from. Download SportsZone Chicago. If you're watching this on our YouTube page, our YouTube channel, well, then I guess you found us on YouTube. And you know what? Do me a favor. Do me a solid, yeah? Do me a solid, yeah? Why don't you subscribe to our YouTube channel? It as well as called SportsZone Chicago. So, you know, I'm excited about the show today, but I need you to get interactive with us today. You know, listen, you can also tweet the show. You can tweet us at SM_mornings, at SM_mornings, or at SportsZone Shy, at CHI, at SportsZone Shy. Now, if you want to follow me, just me, personally online, want to know what I did? Let me tell you what I did. Want to know what I did? Here's what I did. I mean, nice and easy for you folks. Nice and easy. One handle for Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, the Snapper. All one handle at the Shawn Sierra. If you want to follow my lovely co-host, Maya Akai, you can follow her on Facebook and Twitter at the Sports Chica. If you want to follow her on the gram because you're an IG and you do it just for the gram, then follow her at Maya_Akai. It's MAYA_AKAI. Man, I want to bring him out real quick. He is the whiz, the man behind the curtain, the man who makes it all run smoothly. He is my Puerto Rican Swiss Army knife himself, Ivan Vargas. Ivan, what's up, Papa?
Good morning, Shawn. What's going on, man? Hey, I'm happy about that Bulls pick, dude. I don't care what anybody says. There's a lot of heat they're taking for it, and I'm not gonna ruin it. I'm not gonna ruin anything. But I'll just say this: I don't know how they're taking heat for drafting a player who wants to be here, who wants to be great, and has all the skill sets and the makings of being an elite athlete in the NBA. Man, shame on them for taking that type of a player who wants to be the best, who wants to go out and put his hard hat on and be better, and just wants to show you. He didn't want to talk about it. He was just like, "I'll show you what I want to do." That's what I want. I don't want talk is cheap. Talk is cheap. Go out and show me. And just by those words, just the short amount of time, you've heard him speak about him being drafted by the Bulls, and I know he was coming off the bench. But that team in Florida State was loaded.
Yeah, they were.
They were loaded in the ACC, and they were ready. They were poised to go ahead and make a run in the tournament too, if there was a tournament. So,
and who led the team in scoring? Oh, Patrick Williams.
You know what? That's a good point, Shawn. A guy coming off the bench and leading the team in scoring. Come on, bro. To me, I think the panic is just because he wasn't the name. You didn't go out and get a Alonzo or a LaMelo Ball. You didn't get a Wiseman. You didn't get Anthony Edwards. I understand that, but for me, you could already tell from the jump with Arturas Karnisovas, it's about character and hard work. And if you know what, if it so happens that you find a superstar, so be it. I think this guy has a superstar in the making. He has a Jimmy Butler written all over him. That's what I got to say about him.
Jimmy Butler, huh? Okay. I'll tell you what. I think I don't know about Jimmy Butler, but I do see a guy who's willing to improve. And if that could be go along the lines of Jimmy Butler, then okay. If it's better than Jimmy Butler, okay. If it's not as good as Jimmy Butler, okay. Here's what I want. I want a guy who wants to come in and get better every year. Okay? Get better every year. All right? The kid's 18 years old. All right? Think about this. After 6 years, the kid's going to be 24 years old. I mean, and he's not even getting it. It's barely starting to get into his prime. You know what I mean? He's starting to get into his prime after 6 years. So you come in, you do all the grunt work, all the stuff that needs to be done. So you know what? First and foremost, hit the weight room. Get bigger, stronger, faster. Work on your jump shot. This guy, you know, Arturis said, this is a quote from him on picking Pat Williams. He said they thought he was a raw athlete and he wasn't skilled. When I saw his skill level in ball handling and shooting and ability to pass, I would disagree that he's just a raw athlete. He just knows how to play. Right now, you get the benefit of the doubt, AK. Arturis Karnisovas, you get the benefit of the doubt. So, but we're going to talk a little bit more about that. You know, Ivan comes in, he goes off on a tangent and gets me off on a tangent because he's a crazy.
We got to get things going. We got to get things running off and running.
Anyway, like I was saying, guys, listen, we need you to get interactive with us today. So listen, if you're watching this on Facebook Live, you're watching this on our app, if you're watching this on our YouTube channel, first and foremost, thank you for watching us all. Make sure you follow us on all platforms. But also just leave a question or comment right there on the post. Wherever you're watching. And my super producer himself, Ivan Vargas, will put that up on the screen. And we'll talk about it because we need you to get interactive with us today. Today's Friday. You know, we love to get out on Fridays. TGI Mickey Ficky Friday because it's the weekend, baby. You know how we do. And I like it when I get people texting in and chiming in and contributing to the program. Listen, when I said we got a great show, I was not bull jiving. First and foremost, my man, he's ready. He's in the background. He's lathered up. He's warmed up, ready to roll. My guy Joe Phillips we're going to talk in the top of the morning segment, which is coming up in a few minutes, about 10 o'clock, a little before 10 o'clock. Kenneth Davis takes a baton from Joseph. Then at 10 o'clock, Fred Pfeiffer from Chicago, ChicagoBullsEye.com. He's going to call in. We're going to talk a little Bulls. Then at about 10:40, 10:45, depending. He's talking with the university president, but we're going to have on Lance C. Irvin today, and we're going to talk a little more about this Bulls draft pick, or the two draft picks, but their number one pick, who was Patrick Williams, and what better person to give us a breakdown than a person part of the Chicago basketball royalty, Lance C. Irvin, head coach of Chicago State men's basketball team. So he should be on. Then at 11 o'clock, our guy, every Friday, Phillips from the Tape Never Lies Network. He's going to call in, and we're going to talk about this Bears game that we are not having this weekend. Woo, Charlie. You know what? It's going to be so much fun not having to watch the Bears this weekend. How jacked up is that? How jacked up is that? We don't watch the Bears game. We can truly enjoy our Sunday with the litany of games that's going to be going on from 12 noon till about 10:30, 11 o'clock at night. All right. So that's the lineup. Joe Phillips coming up in a moment. Kenneth Davis about just before 10 o'clock. Fred Pfeiffer at 10 o'clock talking Bulls. Lance C. Irvin about 10:40-ish talking more Bulls. And then Phillips at 11 o'clock. Well, listen, guys, you know how we do the first segment of every show. It's called Top of the Morning Tea. And these are the hot topics of the night before or just the sports in general. And boy, oh boy, do we have some doozies. And the Top of the Morning segment is powered by the Chicago Crusader newspaper. And with that, we want to bring out their dude. He's their dude. He's our dude. He's your dude. He's a sports editor over there. He is a good friend of the program, and you can find him on Twitter at ACA Joe. Let's bring him out. Joseph Phillips. Joseph, what's up, Papa?
What's up, Papa? God bless.
How you doing?
Oh, I'm doing great. Yeah. Friday morning, celebrating my second oldest sister's birthday.
Okay.
We're 10 years and 5 days apart. And
15 years?
10 years and 5 days.
10 years.
Yeah.
10 and 5. Okay.
Yeah.
That's a nice stat line for a point guard, 10 and 5. But okay.
Right. That's what we do. Hopefully the Brewers heard that for their free agency today. So get a 10 and 5 guy.
Good, man. Good. You got any big plans this weekend? Well, the weather's going to be nice today. It's going to get a little colder starting tomorrow, but it's going to be nice today. Got any plans with the missus or little man?
Oh yeah. We're gonna probably do a little gathering. Probably head downtown, hang out a little bit.
Okay.
Just probably grab some lunch. Then also, I'm still in search for that PS5, man. I'm trying to decide between trying to find one of those or getting a PC. So either one.
Okay. All right. Well, let's get right to it, baby. Let's get to the top of the morning segment. The first top of the morning topic: the Chicago Bulls draft forward out of Florida State University, Patrick Williams. Let me tell you something. This guy, a.k.a. Arturas Karnisovas, is getting a lot of flack for this pick. And I'm trying to see why he's getting flack for this guy. He's a 6'8" guy. He's stupid athletic. This guy's got a decent jumper. His rebounding ability is top-notch. He's a six-man. And as Ivan and I were talking earlier to start the show, Florida State was stacked.
Yeah.
Florida State was stacked. And this dude came in as a six-man. He was the ACC sixth man of the year in his only season at Florida State, and he led the team in scoring as the sixth man. So, you know what? You give me it's the one thing that it's frustrating about this particular line of business that we're in. Like, people just start talking smack, and they don't know jack spit about anybody. Like, who's this guy? Oh, he's a sixth man. I'm like, have you watched him? Have you seen him on film? Then shut up. Like, there's no game changers. There's no LeBron. There's no Michael. There's no Akeem Olajuwons in this year's drafts. So you got to get the guy that's best. And if you get a guy who's, here's why I like this pick. Because it's not even the pick. It's the fact that they went and they hired people for player development.
That's right.
That is important. Player development. I don't care where the floor is for a player.
Mm-hmm.
I care about his ceiling.
All right.
Okay. And when you bring in people for player development, you're raising the ceiling for these players. So now if he has a high floor and you just raise the ceiling, well, guess what? Now you've got yourself a really, really, really good draft pick.
That's correct. And I'm a big time component of player development. I love working with guys on the fundamentals of basketball. And when it comes to Patrick Williams, AKA, and I gave him a nickname, the Florida.
Already?
The Florida.
Oh, because of his mom?
Yeah. I like that. He delivers. He delivers the flowers. He delivers the goods. And I looked up that definition yesterday, and I was like, okay, I can see him, AKA the Flores. I don't know if they're gonna dub him that. But,
it doesn't seem like
I like it though, Joe. I like it though.
I do too, but it's not manly enough. Like
no. Look, if that ball's going off of people's foreheads, the Flores is manly enough. It don't matter how the name sounds. If he's coming up and yamming at somebody,
he delivering like the mailman. You know how the mailman come along. It sounds soft, but when you see him in action and you see him actually implementing, he delivering. So the Flores, it's almost like the ladies. You want the Flores on your dial, because he gonna deliver the beautiful flowers. He gonna deliver the goods. And that's how I look at him, like this man, he's been trained, well. He's a very disciplined young man. He's only 19 years old. He's built like an ox, and he can score with the best of them. He's strong, he's skilled, and he has a high basketball IQ. And just like Leonard Hamilton said, they asked him, they say, hey, man, this guy hasn't started a game. But what did Coach Hamilton say? But he finishes them, and that's most important. We need a finisher on this team. Not only Laurie Marketing, who's the finisher, but we need a
I agree with you, and that's the most important thing. And see, those are the type of arguments, excuse me, and retorts that people with low basketball IQ will say, well, he never started a game. do you really give a damn if a dude starts a game, or do you give a damn more if he's the guy out there closing it out? If he's in there in the last 5 minutes of the game, guess what? Then those are the people. Those are the finishers. Those are the ones that the coach trusts for you to, one, to win the game, or to two, to hold off the other team from getting close and winning the game. So it's not it's not when you start. It's where you play, where your key minutes coming. And if they're at the end of the game, man, I could give a rat's ass if he starts or not, dude. This is a guy that the coach trusts. And if you're finishing games as a freshman and you can't even break the starting lineup, then guess what? That tells you something about that tells you your high basketball IQ and your ability to compartmentalize and to not let pressure get to you in the late moments, because that's when sphincters tend to tighten in the last 5 minutes of basketball games. Okay, because usually that's the things go back and forth, leads change. Okay. And if you're out there and a coach puts you and feels comfortable enough to put you out there as a freshman toward the end, it says a lot about who you are as a young man and as a basketball player.
And one of the things he mentioned when he was recruited, guess what the first thing he said to his coach? He said, man, look, he says, I want y'all to teach me how to play defense. Okay? That's the first thing he asked them to do. Teach me how to play defense because I want to be a great defender. And one of the things I noticed in the video when I was watching him, he plays both ends of the floors. Like the Bulls don't have a guy that can do that. We may have one guy playing one end of the floor and then the other guy playing another end of the floor. This guy actually plays both ends of the floor. He can block shots, run the floor, and finish, So, hey, the floor is – I love to see him eventually in this starting lineup, and we can add a point guard to run his offense. Man, we should be in good shape.
A guy like this is the kind of guy that you love. If he turns into a Bobby Portis, if he turns into a Taj Gibson, I'm okay with that. Okay. I think his offensive game is going to be better than those guys. But you saw the way Taj Gibson, tell me when Taj Gibson got a rebound, he never laid that stuff up. That was getting dunked on your head.
He dunked on D-Wade.
Okay. I'm not finger rolling it. I'm not laying it off the glass. Okay. I'm down here with the big dogs. I ain't that room. That's the type of attitude that Bobby Porter's the same way. Crazy eyes himself. He'll knock you out, knock your ass out. Keep it up. You know what I mean? Literally.
Hey, didn't he get somebody?
Yeah.
That was Nico, right? Nico got into it.
Yep. Nico got he got a 2-piece. Boom, bing, bing, bing. 2-piece with a biscuit.
OG Bobby. Oh.
Don't mess. Yeah. OG Bobby. Damn.
OG Bobby Johnson.
OG Bobby Johnson, that's right. Oh man, that's crazy. That's crazy. Oh, okay. Kevin, what's up, buddy? How are you? Kevin Williams, comedian extraordinaire. Thanks for tuning in, Papa. I appreciate it. Devin Dotson, undrafted free agent that the Bulls signed. And I think that's awesome.
Yeah,
I think that's I love when Chicago players can get drafted. There's a thing about Chicago players. There's a toughness about Chicago players. And I'm not saying that people who come from anywhere else aren't tough. Right. But when you're from Chicago, okay? When you're from Chicago and you play basketball on the streets, and for most kids, a lot of times it's your way out. It's your only way out. It's your only way out, and that's where your reputation is made in the neighborhood. That's where a lot of times gangbangers will be like, "Hey, no, stay away from him. Let's keep him clean. He's got that some, and it's a lifestyle. There have been playground, there have been high school legends. There's something about Chicago players when they come, when they go to college, many times they're often the first person in their family to go to college. Right. So I mean, they're carrying the weight of a family on their shoulders. So basketball isn't just a game for them. That's life.
That's right.
And you see the way that they play. I mean, just the people look at people like Patrick Beverly. Patrick Beverly, if you look at his actual skills,
Right.
they're not. I don't know if they're NBA worthy, but what does he do? He'll lock your ass up like you stole something, and that alone can get you in the NBA. Now you just got to work on your offensive skills and just be a marginal player offensively with that lockdown skill. Like those are the type of things. I know KG was from South Carolina, but when he came here, his toughness went up. You play with Ronnie Fields, you play in that Red Central. Come on, man.
You got that West Side balling in him.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. Like you mentioned Dotson, and I did do some research on that young man. He's actually looks up to Derrick Rose. You know,
yep.
He's actually tried to emulate his game, put a lot into his game. I think it's a good signing because he ran the University of Kansas offense with the big center that they have over there. So you know what? We got us a Chicago tough guard.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I think he's a good ball handler. And like I said, when it comes to Chicago ball players, one thing they're not afraid of is the moment. You know, so
no, definitely not.
You give him an opportunity, and I know there won't be any summer league this year. They said that I guess the two-way contracts last for 50 games, so we probably see him this year. You never know.
Yeah, so he's a Chicago native. He averaged 18 points, 4 boards, 4 assists, 2 steals as a sophomore at Kansas, earning consensus All-American honors. So he's a little shorter in stature and 6'2", but he's got a wingspan that of a 6'3" guard. So here's the thing. So now there's going to be a big log jam at point guard. So if this guy makes a team, and I hope he does, I hope at least he pushes people. And if he doesn't make the Bulls, then I hope at least he lands somewhere. But don't forget, you got Kobe White, you got Zach LaVine who brings the ball up, and then you still got Denzel Valentine, who, truth be told, I think runs a really, really, really good point.
Right.
Okay, and he could be our second. He could be the bench mob.
Right. Right. And I think Billy Donovan is looking to run that 3-guard offense. And I heard Arturis, he wants to see some ball movement within the offense, some type of motion offense. And then in addition to that, he wants to see something up tempo. So I think him and Archie are probably going to battle for minutes. If this young man be who we drafted him to be, because like I said, he averaged 18 a game. And Archie plays very hard, but that's not going to – it's okay to play hard, but you got to be able to defend your man on the other end with this management, So hopefully that works out, for that young man, and he go out there and compete for a job. And if he doesn't make it with the Bulls, he probably play for the G League. He probably goes down to the Windy City Bulls and do damage. So either one.
Yeah. So moving on, I think this is pretty cool. The next top of the morning topic, Kaner, our guy Patrick Kane, has announced the birth. Patrick Kane and his girlfriend Amanda announced the birth of their first child. Patrick Timothy Kane III was born Tuesday. He took some pictures, posted them on social media. From the hospital. I'm happy for him. Patrick Kane was a wild child. Patrick Kane was one of them dudes. He was just crazy. He was loving life. He was a celebrity. He was rich and he was a celebrity at the age of 18 when we signed him 10, 12 years ago. And he did a lot of dumb stuff that we all do. But when you're a pro athlete, the dumb stuff that you do gets magnified a lot more than the dumb stuff that I bet you or I did when we were 18, 19 years old. So, he had a scandal where he was caught. Let's just say he liked to frequent sorority houses.
That boy.
And he could because he was 21, 22, you know what I mean? 23, and but then there was a picture with a girl where he was sleeping and the girl took a picture of her, a selfie of her with him in the background, and that kind of, that led to, the Blackhawks organization, hockey in general. They really like to keep their business under wraps. And, and then remember Stan Bowman said, hey, you know what? You face the media. Right. We're done answering questions about you and your behavior. You face it. And that was the most uncomfortable I had ever seen Patrick Kane. So you know what? He's matured. He had the rape case, the allegations, which turned out to be bogus. That was when they put him out in front of the media. But he's grown up. We've seen the maturation process of Patrick Kane, and I think this will only force him to be more mature. You can speak on that more than I can, Joseph. Give me your thoughts with him having a kid, how grounded this guy's going to be.
Well, there's no better feeling in the world than to have your firstborn, your child. Child is a gift from the Lord. That's how I tell people. Like, if God's giving you a child, that means that you have a heavy responsibility in your hand and that He trusts you. And hopefully, like you said, Patrick matured. Is he married now?
No, that's just his girlfriend, Amanda.
Okay. Well, I hope he marries that young lady. And then in addition to that, this child will eventually take him to another level of maturity, because it's not about you anymore. It's all about that child, and I think he can be a great father. I know he's going to definitely be a great provider and a great protector. So you get that priest thing in line, he's going to be all good. And hopefully Pat King can raise his child in goodwill.
Well, you know what? That's all. I'm happy for him. Congratulations from everyone here at SportsZone Chicago to Patrick Kane, his girlfriend Amanda, on the birth of a new child, Patrick Timothy Kane III. Well, listen, we got to take a quick break, and on the other side of the break, we have more top of the morning topics. So don't go anywhere, folks. Keep it locked right here. Shawn and Maya at SportsZone Chicago.
BoomerNaturals.com presents the Sports Flash on 1330 and 95.9 The Zone. NBA free agency officially gets underway tonight at 5 Central. The Bulls not with a lot of flexibility with the salary cap. Executive VP of Basketball Operations Arturas Karnisovas says the team will be picky as they look to add some shooting depth. More than 100 players around the league will become unrestricted free agents. Point guard Chris Dunn and Shaquille Harrison will get to test the free agent market after the team made a $4.7 million qualifying offer to 2016 first-round pick Denzel Valentine. Perfect time for a bye week for the Bears. They've lost 4 in a row and are dealing with a slew of injuries. At 5-5, they're second in the NFC North behind 7-2 Green Bay. That's the next team they'll face a week from this Sunday. Boomer Naturals, your source for 3-layer protective face masks. Breathable protection for adults and kids. Save 20% with promo code SPORTS at BoomerNaturals.com. Chuck Sanders, that's the Sports Flash, 1330 95.9 The Zone.
Javier's Auto Body is colliding with a shortage of licensed techs.
That 2017 is waiting on a clear coat, that 09 needs its left rear sanded, pounded, and painted, and the guy over there is waiting on an estimate.
It's time to hire.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. The moment you sponsor a job on Indeed, you get a short list of quality candidates from our resume database. Indeed delivers 2.5 times more hires than the other branded job sites combined, according to Breezy HR 2019. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get a $75 credit for your first job post. Terms and conditions apply.
I'm Dr. Baker, an ER physician. If you're having leg pain, swelling, or redness, but haven't talked to your doctor yet, don't wait. This could be deep vein thrombosis, a blood clot which could travel to your lungs and lead to a pulmonary embolism, which could cause chest pain or discomfort or difficulty breathing and be deadly. Your symptoms could mean something serious, so don't wait. Talk to a doctor right away, by phone, online, or in person.
Brought to you by Bristol Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
Welcome back to Shawn and Maya in the morning on SportsZone Chicago on this TGI Mickey Ficky Friday, baby. It's the weekend, baby. Man, I tell you, I'm fired up, baby. It's going to be about 60 degrees today in late. We're not even mid. We're in late November. You know what I'm talking about? Don't get me wrong. The temperature is going to fall off the table tomorrow, but that's, you know what? My mom always says something that I never got. My mom always come up with these crazy things, and the older I'm like, this lady's she's bat crazy, and the older I get, the smarter she gets. Because as I start to understand all the things she said earlier, and she always said, "Don't borrow the sorrow from tomorrow." I'm like, Mom, what the hell does that mean? She's like, "Don't worry about tomorrow. Tomorrow's not here."
That's
So
right.
why are you stressing about what's going to happen tomorrow, and now you're not even enjoying today?
Mm.
And I was like, that's let me think. That is kind of smart. Okay, so don't borrow the sorrow from tomorrow. So it's going to be about 60 degrees today. It's going to drop down like 45 tomorrow. It's a 15-degree drop, but I ain't worried about it because you know what? We'll worry about today and today only. It's going to be sunny, beautiful day out there. I may get a walk in. I may go visit my guy over at Output just to have some wings. I ain't seen him in a minute. Now that I live out in the burbs, I'm a little suburbanite, little joker, So, but yeah, so it's going to be a good weekend, man. I'm excited for it. Especially excited for today. And I get to talk sports with some peoples that I like a lot. And Joe, you are one of them. Well, let's get right back to it. The next top of the morning topic. The Bears. The Bears bring in former Notre Dame quarterback Deshaun Kaiser in for a tryout. Yeah, on Thursday. I'm all for it. You know what? I'll tell you what. Don't forget, many people thought when he came out the same year as Trubisky. Some people had him as a number one quarterback. Some people had him as 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever. Brian Kelly, his head coach at Notre Dame, did say he came out a year too early.
Yeah.
He did say that. And people, the thing that sucks about people is when somebody tells the truth, then everyone all of a sudden it's that cancel culture. Like, oh, you're full of how can you say it about your player, about your former this? Because he knows his player. Because he knows he came out a year too early. Timing's everything. Timing is everything, especially in the draft. And you come out a year too early and you're not ready. People look at you as a project. And if you're taking high, like Mitch Trubisky, then, you shouldn't be taking projects that high. If you come out a year too late and you have a bad senior year, then people look at you like, oh, you should have came out last year. So give it to me. You know what? I hope he does okay. I hope they end up signing him. I hope he ends up playing. I just think that we need help at the quarterback position because what we have right now, as we all know, isn't getting it done.
That's right. And hopefully he can stand up long enough to throw a pass because we've been having problems with that 2 seconds in the pocket is not enough for any quarterback. I don't care if you're the fifth string quarterback. If you're not getting enough time in that pocket, it's over for you. So I'm more concerned for our offensive line than I am the QB that we're trying to bring in, because what good is to bring in all these QBs and they're going to get knocked out in the third quarter or the fourth quarter of the game, So I believe Kaiser has the ability to play on this level. Like you said, Brian Kelly told him he came out a little bit early, but not only the fact that he came out a little bit early, he was behind Aaron Rodgers. So you might as well just, it's like the cancel culture. You might as well just kiss it goodbye. You're not going to have an opportunity to really play unless an injury happens, which happened that year. And what was that? Was that Monday Night Football game when the Bears pretty much Lil Mack took the ball out of his hand, and tipped it, intercepted, and ran it in. Yeah. Actually, that's the last memory I had of Kaiser. So
yeah.
I looked at his stats. His interception to touchdown ratio was pretty horrible. But if he can come in with a good attitude, he's a black quarterback. The Bears are finally giving a black quarterback a chance since Cordell Stewart or who else? Slash. That's the last black quarterback we had. So why not give it a try? And he can run. He can run. So we can use him in different ways.
I think that's important. I think that you get a quarterback who can run, and that would be kind of crazy, to have him and Mitch. And so that'll be the next top of the morning topic, is that a lot of people a lot of articles I'm reading and a lot of, just talk and, Bears talk, people want Mitch back. They want him back, and who to thunk it, because the one thing that he's got is he's got the ability to run. Now, as long as he uses that ability and he uses those legs, then I think we're fine. Then I think we'll be okay, because people keep forgetting Mitch is a phenomenal athlete.
Yeah.
Mitch is a phenomenal. He's got a cannon for an arm. He can run with the best of them. And, it's just his ability as a pure quarterback is what's lacking. But if we're going to have issues with no time then put someone back there who can escape and make plays with his feet, unlike Nick Foles. And it's not a condemnation of Nick Foles. It's just a statement of facts. He can't run. He can't escape from the pocket. He can't get you a first down with his feet. Okay, he can't. Okay, but this guy can. And from what we've seen, Nick Foles always has his accuracy hasn't been much better than Mitch's. So if there's the one component that I can use, so they're going to be about as accurate as each other, which is pretty horrible. And the one thing that you have is the ability to run and escape and make plays with your feet over the other quarterback. Well, then that's the one I'm going to use. So I'm okay with it. I hope Mitch takes this and realizes this is literally his last chance, either to get re-signed by the Bears or to re-sign by another team and hang around the league. Dude, if Mitch can hang around the league for another 5 years, 10 years as a backup, man, that's crazy money.
Hey, Shawn, wouldn't this be scary if this happened?
What's that?
I'm just being showing a little Bears optimism here. Say, for example, Mitch comes back, right? And our new offensive coordinator decides to tailor the plays according to Mitch's strengths.
Stop it. Now you're sounding too damn smart. Stop it, Joseph. Stop it.
All of a sudden, Mitch leads us to the Super Bowl. No, let me stop.
Yeah, stop.
I had you on with it. I was joking on that part. But
what are you drinking this morning, bro?
Some orange juice. But
with vodka.
Just imagine, brother. Just imagine if we can tailor the plays to Mitch. Give him the same permission that we gave Nick Foles to call audibles at the line. If you see something not working, hey, go to the sneak. You see what I mean? If you see something not working on the rollout, run it. You see what I mean? Just read and react. And I think if the Bears can get to that, it can keep a lot of these defensive pass rushers honest. They can't just blitz us. They can't just stack 8 on the line and stop our running game. It'll be a combination of ways to keep Mitch, in the game and keep his confidence up. So if Mitch comes back this time, I think it's going to be better than last time for the simple fact that Bill Lazor is calling the play calls. And in addition to that, I think Bill has sense enough to cater and tailor the play calls to Mitch's strengths. So that should be our next outcry as Chicago Bears fans. When he comes back this time, tailor to his strength. Don't do like Nagy did and try to force him into the system and have him all over the place mentally.
The cool thing about it, that's a great thing you mentioned, Joe, is that, now they got a bye week, so they're going to be practicing over the bye week, and then they're going to be practicing for the Green Bay game the following week. But now you can, as the offensive coordinator, okay, you can look at, now you have a good chance to inventory what plays of Matt Nagy's that you like. You have a good chance to inventory the plays that you don't like for Mitch Trubisky if he's the one who's going to start. Okay. Then you can also incorporate some of your own plays. So the majority of the plays are going to be Nagy's because those are the ones that everyone knows. But you can also, in this time, you can put in different packages of your plays, and that what would be a crazy thing, Joe. So now that the Bears are 5-5, is that if Mitch does come back and does lead his team to a playoff berth, okay. So all of a sudden, and then you see, because now Bill Lazor ain't going anywhere. Okay, because they're like, okay, well, look what this guy did. And if that happens, I would be happy for Matt Nagy, okay, because now he can just do one thing, and that's delegate. Okay, he's not part of the offense, he's not part of the defense, he's not part. He oversees everything. You know what? Let somebody who's capable do that. And I don't think he's capable of it, but I also don't think that he has the capacity to be a head coach and a play caller. Right. Because just putting a game plan together is extremely time consuming. I'm telling you from as a former defensive coordinator, it's time consuming watching all this film, getting a game plan together, okay, getting your practice plan together, and he still has to be a head coach on top of that.
Can I say something about Matt Nagy? And this is positive, and also as a former player, not a former football player, but just knowing, how how as a former player, when you see guys out there, you want to get out there. You notice that? Like you be watching, you be like, you know what, man? I want to take off this polo shirt, put some pads on, and run the play, you know? And I think that's how Matt Nagy felt about play calling. Like because he was a former quarterback, he was actually calling plays for himself, you know, versus calling plays that was going to benefit Mitch Trubisky. And with his situation now, and he finally humbled himself, he realized that, first of all, I'm not out there playing, okay? I actually got a job to do. And now that I have to delegate, I got to actually watch the game from a fan's perspective. I get to see my actual mistakes. And hopefully he learns from that. So on a positive note, I don't blame him for being so passionate, but you can't be so passionate to a point as a coach that you think you actually out there playing and you forget to coach the team. So
yeah, you can't live vicariously through your players. You got to, you know, you have a job to do. You have to kind of take a hands-off approach, you know, and look at it with a
bird's eye view.
An unbiased view. And
Right.
Matt Nagy can't do that yet. So, you know, and it's tough. It's tough, you know. So we'll see. Let's keep it moving. The next top of the morning topic, man. I heard this, and this was a blow. Woo-wee. NBA sharpshooter Klay Thompson is out for the season with a torn Achilles. He suffered the other day. He was playing pickup basketball. If you remember, he had a knee injury last season, which kept him out. He decided to sit out this season. So he was going to come back 100% from the knee injury. And then in a pickup game out in California, he tears his Achilles, which pushes his timetable for return back another season. Is this the end for Klay Thompson?
Well, I don't think it's the end, because as long as you got that jump shot, that flaming jump shot like he does, you can be used anywhere. If you can knock down 3-pointers at a 40% clip, you can be used anywhere. Matter of fact, if you want to come to Chicago, we will definitely use you anywhere. Flash Brothers 3.0 or Flash Brothers 2.0 with Levine and Thompson in the backcourt. So, and I'll give you the money if you need it. We'll love to have Golden State's goods, you know. But this is a weird thing going on, and I didn't want to bring up LeBron James today because I know last time we had this conversation. But it seems like every time some competition comes his way, there's always an injury to a key personnel. Look it up. Don't look at me. Look it up. Okay? When someone is in his way, there's always an injury to someone that's in his way, key personnel. Because he was the first one to text out when Klay got injured. And I was like, why is this guy always the first one to text out when Klay got injured? I'm not saying anything. Uh-oh. I'm not saying anything. All I got to say is just look into it. That's all I got.
You probably text him, was the first to tweet something out because he's the face of the league. So as the face of the league, you do that. It's just a show of good sportsmanship. That's probably it. But this is a huge thing for Golden State. It's a huge thing. Splash Brother, one of the half of the Splash Brothers is out. Okay. You're not in your 20s anymore. You're in your 30s now. And the game, first of all, the recovery, I mean, he should be back, but the more important question is how comfortable he's going to be initially, because he's going to have to go and play pickup games in the summer next year. Is he going to be leery about the Achilles? There's a lot. This is more of a mental injury than anything, because he'll be back. He'll be strong enough. It's mentally, will he be able to, stop on a dime? I forgot what game it was this past season, it couldn't be this past season, the season before, where he had 50 points and it said on like 6 dribbles.
That was against
the Bulls.
Yeah, he for almost, I think, 50 in the first, not in the first half. I think he hit like 13 threes in the first half or something.
Yeah, and you're right, it was against the Bulls. And it was all off of like 6 dribbles, 7 dribbles. and you know what I mean. And some of them are just a rhythm dribble. You know,
Right.
he got it, he didn't get it in rhythm, so he had to take that one dribble just to get in rhythm, and boom. But everything else. So I think his game, because his game is predicated, not an explosion. Okay, it might not be as devastating to him.
Right.
It might not be, and I hope not. You know what? Klay Thompson is a guy that's well respected throughout the league. You know, and you could tell how well respected he was by the amount of people and superstars who reached out, you know, either via Twitter or social media, and just say, hey, you know what, prayers up, and you know, good luck, get back. What does this do for Golden State? I mean, they have, you know, Shawn Livingston's gone, you know, Andre Iguodala's gone, you know, a lot of their guys from their title runs are gone. You know, time and tide wait for no man. And, you know, so now Steph's another year older. Okay, Steph's, you know, so you know they're not going to win the title this year without Klay. So now they're going to be able to do it next year, but they'll be a year older next year. There's a lot going on with and a lot of collateral damage that happened with this injury.
And the timing of it is weird. You know, like it happened on draft day. You know, like what are the coincidences that an injury like this happened to the Bulls are actually probably on the phone talking about trading up for that number 2 pick. And then they get the breaking news that Klay Thompson. I was like, once I saw that news go across the wire, I was like, oh, there's no way they're trading the number 2 pick now. They're keeping that pick. And I felt that they were going to eventually trade with the Bulls, but that Klay Thompson injury kind of changed the whole outcome of the draft. Like I said, he actually headlined the draft because they broke the news right before the draft started.
Yeah. Well, let's keep it moving. The next top of the morning topic. DePaul men's basketball team has suspended all basketball activities after positive COVID-19 test results among its tier 1 group. Okay. So the DePaul's first 3 games of the season, November 25th, 28th, and December 1st, will be canceled. And their head coach, Dave Lato, said, quote, "We'll return to the practice floor and competition after we complete all mandated protocols and procedures." And for reasons of medical privacy, DePaul didn't identify any of the players that were affected or any of the staff members. So now COVID is hitting home, you know, our local colleges, and it's just unfortunate that it's hitting so close to home.
Yeah, DePaul, actually, they're like a program on the rise. You know, Devin Gage over there. You know,
Curie.
Yeah, Curie's finest, right? What an amazing run! I covered him that year, but at the end of the day, you know, hopefully all these guys can get healthy. You know, get well soon. I know Coach Lato is a hard worker, hard recruiter, and he's gonna always look out for what's best for his players. So I think they're going to take the proper procedures and make sure that the players quarantine, and eventually he'll get them back out there so that they'll be ready to play pretty soon.
Yeah, it's this whole COVID thing, man. It's just out of control. It really is. You know, there's the next top of the morning topic as we move on has to do with this. Is former Notre Dame head coach and TV analyst Lou Holtz has tested positive for the coronavirus. And Holtz said the other day, quote, "I don't have a lot of energy right now," unquote. If you remember, he led he was at Arkansas. He coached Dan Hampton down at Arkansas. He led the Notre Dame Fighting Irish to their last national championship game, national title game, or championship, I should say. They were in a title game after, but their last national title in 1988. It's hitting everybody, man. It's hitting everybody. And the fact that he's 84 years old, you know, there comes a lot more risk when you're dealing with people who are older and whose immune systems and their bodies aren't as strong as 20s and 30s and 40s. So, you know, our prayers go out to
Sweet
Lou Holtz and his family.
Yeah, get well soon, sweet Lou.
Yeah. So that, man, that really, some stuff like that, you know, and it's concerning, you know, because you you see the people who are dying, the largest group are people in their 80s. The next largest group are people in their 70s and their 60s. So for someone like that, for a person his age to get it, there's a lot of praying that needs to be involved, that needs to go on, because chances are tough. It's tough for them to fight this particular issue. So the next top of the morning topic, man, did you see the trade that went down? Tito Horford traded to the Thunder, all right, for draft picks in Danny Green. Holy cow! This thing. Let me the amount of draft picks that were traded for Tito Horford. I was like, what? What? The Sixers moved on from Al Horford to trade him in the 34th pick, protected 2025 first round pick, and the draft rights to point guard Vasily Micic to the Thunder for Danny Green and Terrence Ferguson. Tito Horford was one of those guys. He's one of Billy Donovan's kids from Florida. Him and Joakim Noah, Corey Brewer. But man, it was crazy to see that this guy is traded. But that's the NBA. That's the NBA. And when you're not producing and you have a large salary, they look to get rid of you.
That's right. Especially since the game is changing. Like I said, I know Tito Horford. He can knock down the occasional three. He can bang, he can bruise, but the style of basketball that Philadelphia were playing, they were a little bit more up-tempo. So it was kind of a little too fast for Tito to play in that style of offense, especially, him being the physical specimen that he is. But one thing I did notice with Doc Rivers and the Philadelphia 76ers, he's trying to add shooters to those perimeter. And one person he traded for was his son-in-law, and that's Seth Curry. So he got him on the squad. Now he got Danny Green on the squad. So Ben Simmons gonna have some shooters on those perimeters now, where he can drive and kick. And they can't always double team Joel Embiid. So if you got Danny Green on one side and Seth Curry on another in that lineup with Ben Simmons running the point, then that's gonna open it up for a lot of isolations for Joel Embiid. So this is probably a good move. I see why I wouldn't have gave up all those first round picks, but at the end of the day, I do like that where their lineup is going. They 3-and-D lineup. So
this is I'm throwing you a curveball here, buddy. But you and I actually had tweeted back and forth. Is Georgia's Anthony Edwards. He was taken first overall by the Minnesota Timberwolves. Has said that if the NFL came calling, he would quit basketball immediately. He was a high school basketball player. He was a stud, and he said he can't watch basketball, and that if an NFL team wanted him, he would quit basketball immediately. I believe he was a wide receiver, if I'm not mistaken. Ivan, double check that for me, please.
He said that. I'll double check for the wide receiver thing, but what his quote was he's not really into basketball like he's into football. So it's almost like he's the number one draft pick overall, and basketball's a hobby to him.
Wow. And he's the number one pick. That's crazy, man. That's why it's so important to know where the person's mind is at. And maybe be the first two-sport athlete in the NBA to play in the NFL and in the NBA. But he's the number one pick, so he's a long-term investment. So I don't think Minnesota's management is going to approve of that because they are risking a lot. Even the GM, I think that's why they took so long to take the pick. They probably was like, we got to be able to trust this guy mentally, So we're gonna try to see if anybody want to trade up before we make this. That's why they waited till all the seconds go out. You notice that? Like, it was like the pick is in. It's like, wait. We still try to get the trade. But hopefully, hopefully he keeps his mind focused on basketball. Do that well first at a professional level, and then if you do it so well to a point where you feel you have the time and the opportunities to play in the NFL at the tight end, because I saw him trucking over a lot of young guys when he was younger. Then hey, why not?
Yeah, he's 6'5", so it would most likely be he could be a wide receiver, but most likely a tight end with his body. I just thought that was kind of interesting. The first pick, overall, just says he really, I guess football is still his first love and his first sport. So that's crazy. That's pretty nuts. So well, listen, we got to take a quick break. Hey, Joseph, thanks for joining in this week. This week, as usual, Papa, we appreciate it. Enjoy the day with the wife and the kid and the young man, your family. Get out there, enjoy this beautiful weather, and we will see you on Monday.
All right,
Sound
guys.
good? What were the articles that you wrote this week?
Oh, okay. Well, like I said, I'm doing a story on a baseball player from Alcorn State, one of the top players in HBCU.
Mm-hmm.
I did a piece on Pat Williams. That'll be released this week also. And then last but not least, it'll be on Theo Epstein stepping down as the club's president of baseball operations.
Okay. Good stuff. All right, Joseph, we'll talk to you on Monday, Papa. Enjoy your weekend, and we'll see you then.
All right. God bless.
All right. Hey, guys, we got to take a quick break. And on the other side of the break, our guy, Kenneth Davis, will take the baton, and he's going to run with me for the next hour. We're going to welcome our first guest, Red Fred himself, Fred Pfeiffer. We're going to talk a little Bulls. You see, I'm decked out in my Bulls attire. You see me, Kenneth. You see me, boy. And we're going to talk a lot of Bulls basketball, so don't go anywhere, folks. Keep it locked right here. Shawn and Maya in the morning on SportsZone Chicago.
BoomerNaturals.com presents the Sports Flash on 1330 and 95.9 The Zone. NBA free agency officially gets underway tonight at 5 Central. The Bulls not with a lot of flexibility with the salary cap. Executive VP of Basketball Operations Arturas Karnisovas says the team will be picky as they look to add some shooting depth. More than 100 players around the league will become unrestricted free agents. Point guard Chris Dunn and Shaquille Harrison will get to test the free agent market after the team made a $4.7 million qualifying offer to 2016 first-round pick Denzel Valentine. Perfect time for a bye week for the Bears. They've lost 4 in a row and are dealing with a slew of injuries. At 5-5, they're second in the NFC North behind 7-2 Green Bay. That's the next team they'll face a week from this Sunday. Boomer Naturals, your source for 3-layer protective face masks. Breathable protection for adults and kids. Save 20% with promo code SPORTS at BoomerNaturals.com. Chuck Sanders, that's the Sports Flash, 1330 95.9 The Zone.
Javier's Auto Body is colliding with a shortage of licensed techs.
That 2017 is waiting on a clear coat. That 09 needs its left rear sanded, pounded, and painted. And the guy over there is waiting on an estimate.
It's time to hire.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. The moment you sponsor a job on Indeed, you get a short list of quality candidates from our resume database. Indeed delivers 2.5 times more hires than the other branded job sites combined, according to Breezy HR 2019. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get a $75 credit for your first job post. Terms and conditions apply.
I'm Dr. Baker, an ER physician. If you're having leg pain, swelling, or redness, but haven't talked to your doctor yet, don't wait. This could be deep vein thrombosis, a blood clot which could travel to your lungs and lead to a pulmonary embolism, which could cause chest pain or discomfort or difficulty breathing and be deadly. Your symptoms could mean something serious, so don't wait. Talk to a doctor right away, by phone, online, or in person.
Brought to you by Bristol Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
Welcome back to Shawn and Maya in the morning on SportsZone Chicago on this TGI Mickey Ficky Friday. It's the weekend, baby. It's going to be a beautiful day out here in the Chi, about 60 degrees. Let's enjoy it because the temperatures are going to fall off the table. It's going to be about 45 tomorrow. You know, bro, man, from the fifth floor. going to be about 45 tomorrow. So enjoy today, and it's going to be wonderful. Listen, I want to bring out my guy. He is taking a baton from Joseph Phillips. He's going to sit with us for the next hour. Man, he is the host of That Davis Show. You can find him on Twitter at That's Davis. Man, bring him up, my man, Kenneth Davis. Kenneth, what's up, Papa?
What's going on, man? How you doing?
I'm good, man. I'm good. I am good. I'm liking this. I'm liking this Bulls pick. We're going to talk with in a minute.
So we're simpatico with this.
I am.
So you know that my former producer is Tony Gill. Before he left me for greater pastures.
He's like, "Bump you! I'm going to NBC."
He's like, I can do. No, he went to Lawrence. Then he went to NBC Chicago.
That's right. He went to first.
But Lawrence not Lawrence, but Tony on our text chain had hit us with the Patrick Williams thing, and at first it's kind of like, yeah. So I started doing a deep dive because this is kind of the stuff about sports that I really enjoy. And at first, I first look at him, and I know we're going to get into a friend. I'm like, man, what's up with these Brian Russell thighs? There's some thick thighs for Shorty to be, quick twitch. But looking when I looked over it, especially I guess if you look at it, if Dene Aja was going to be the pick. When I looked over it, I liked the fact that it seemed like Arturas and Mark were looking at ceiling rather than floor. Because even though I think with Denny, he's going to be better the first couple of years at least, so Bulls fans may get upset. I'm only comparing those two. Right now, because that was the guy in a lot of mock drafts that people had. But when I looked at Patrick Williams, I was like, I like this kid's upside a lot more in the long term. So I didn't think they did a bad job. I mean, if you look at the especially in a draft that didn't have a high ceiling, I was cool with them taking Patrick Williams.
Cool. Well, let's bring in our next guest, and we'll talk a little more about this. I'm excited about it. He's a good friend of the program. You see, you can find him on Twitter at CBE Fred. He writes for ChicagoBullseye.com. Man, we're going to talk a lot of basketball with him. Let's bring him out, Fred Pfeiffer. Fred, what's up, buddy? How are you?
I'm doing great, Shawn. It's fantastic to talk to you and Kenneth. Thanks a lot for having me on in this glorious morning as the future of the Red Leviathan looks so bright. I'm really excited for the year.
Hey, Fred.
How can you not be excited about this team?
Stop using such big words, man. My head's like I just had a headache real quick. You said something like Viagrathon or what? Something. What did you say? I don't know.
The Red Leviathan. That's my term for the beloved Bulls.
Bulls. I'm just messing with you, dude.
It's going to be pretty incredible stuff over the next few years. I'm really looking forward to it.
Well, let's talk to it. Talk to us, man. Let us know what's your thoughts on Patrick Williams. This guy, Arturas Karnisovas, is until he shows that he's incompetent, he has to get the benefit of the doubt. The fact of the matter is that he brought in a couple of people, two or three people, I think, maybe for player development specifically. That's it. That's your only job is player development. That's a big step from where this organization was. So when you bring in those people, and then you draft a guy like this, and everyone says, well, he didn't even start at Florida State. He didn't start at all. Yeah, but he was sixth man of the year in the ACC. And who led the Florida State Seminoles in scoring? Oh, yeah, this guy. So when you get a guy who's – and then go look at his Denver team. His Denver team just made the playoffs as well, and that's all AK. So you look at this and this draft pick with the hiring of player development. Look at his recent body of work, not from 5 years ago, 10 years ago. We're talking recent. This pick looks more and more appealing to me by the second.
Yeah, it's definitely an interesting pick. I mean, how often do you have a guy who played 29 college games, 0 starts, become a top 5 player in the NBA draft? It's pretty rare. It's a pretty interesting pick. I mean, there's a ton of potential for Williams. I really wanted Isaac Okoro. I think Isaac Okoro, when all said and done, is going to be the best player in this draft. I think he would have been a perfect fit for the Bulls. He went number 5 to the Cavs. So I was disappointed in that. I do feel like he would have been the best fit for this team. He's the best perimeter defender in the draft. I think he's going to be an exceptional player who will make many All-Star games. Williams, I mean, there's a lot of development that needs to be done. I am in disagreement with Arturas and the fact that every interview I listen to him, he seems to think that he can be a 3. And I disagree with that. I think he's best fit is probably at the 4, power forward position. Obviously, that calls him for Mark Fear. The player in the best potential is this guy at Patrick Williams at the 4. That's where we should go with. We shouldn't be drafting by position, but nobody's perfect. We'll see what happens. I'm relieved they didn't take Denny Average. I've never seen a player talked about with more aplomb that had absolutely nothing on tape. The guy was a 55% free throw shooter. Just stop there. Massive red flag. That's a guy you should stay away from. 55% everybody talk about as great school. That's horrific. I coach a 6th grade basketball travel team, and we make them run if they're not hitting at a 60% rate. This guy shot 55%.
Get your ass around the gym.
Yeah, he can't shoot. I think Denny Average he's what I call a defensive tweener. He's too slow to guard the threes, too weak to guard the fours. I'm so glad they let that guy pass. So Williams, it will be interesting. I watched a ton of tape on him. And again, I disagree with Arturas in effect. I don't think he's quick enough laterally to guard the best threes in the league. I think he's an absolute power forward. He can guard any 4 in the league. It's going to be exciting to see how he develops.
Fred, let me ask you this real quick on Isaac Okoro, because you brought up with Denny Average as far as the free throw shooter, and we know that's indicative as far as how good of a shooter you'll be in the future in general. When you look at Patrick Williams was shooting like 82, 83%, how well do you think Isaac Okoro is going to be offensively, since you said you see him have been in all-star games down the future? Because I know that was the question that a lot of people had, that how offensively he was going to be, because defensively we know he's already an all-star. Yeah,
that's a great question. So what I saw at Okoro is one of the best finishers in this draft. I thought he was fantastic in the open court, an elite athlete, incredible dunker. I mean, he had every aspect of his game was just elite, with the exception of his shooting. That needs to get better. But I can go through 10 guys in this who were picked in the top 20 that were really poor shooters, including Ball and Edwards, and a lot of guys had really horrific stats at the 3-point line. So the question is he going to develop that shot? And that's the question that's really hard to figure out. But I can't tell you this. I've seen very few videos of a player who played with a greater motor than Isaac Okoro. And that's something you cannot teach, and it's something that I found in my experience, something that you just cannot just put into a player. Does he have a motor? Does he want it? Does he play at a high level of excitement and desire to win? Without a doubt, that's what he has. In great amounts. So I think that would translate to him becoming a better player over the long haul, putting the effort that he needs to do to improve. In regard to Williams, he played with great effort also. So I do take solace in that fact that I think, he will hit his ceiling. Whereas I always question players who, just didn't seem to want it, who maybe just got into basketball because they were tall and they were told by everyone else you should get into it, not really love the game. Those are guys you got to stay away from. Like guys like Eddie Curry, those guys really didn't love the game. You could just tell even in high school. So that's why I was really big on, Okoro. And, I hope I'm wrong on this. He's been put in a horrible situation in Cleveland with arguably the worst defensive backcourt in basketball. He's going to have to every night be told, hey, you're going to guard the best player in the opposite team, which is what he did for Auburn. And, we'll see where it goes from him. I love the kid and I wish him the best. But, Williams is our guy. I'm really excited to see how he develops, and if he can be a 3. I hope I'm wrong on this, but again, I think his position is the 4, so it's going to really lead to some interesting questions about the future of where we go with some of the players on this team as is.
Shawn, I know you have to reset real quick. We're not going to hold it against Isaac Okoro, though, that he played for a good coach that's a snitch. Just want to drop that on there real quick before we move.
Hey, listen,
go ahead,
I went to U of I too. I can't stay. I know exactly what you're talking about. I went to U of I, and I'm a huge fan of U of I. So no doubt about that. That really disappointing. His head coach, and his time at Iowa. We'll get in that in another show, but yeah, agreed. But there's no doubt about it. Okoro's a kid who's, I think, got really tremendous future. Hopefully, Williams will achieve greatness too.
Guys, we're joined by Fred Pfeiffer, C-Red Fred, as he's also known, from ChicagoBullsEye.com, talking a little Bulls basketball right here on Shawn and Maya on SportsZone Chicago. So this guy, I'm looking at him, and the one thing that, a couple of things that I really take. One, I did start looking at his tape, and I love the athleticism, but more so the thing that I liked, that was his desire to be great. Seems like he wants to get better. First of all, the kid's only 19 years old.
19, so, one of the youngest players in the draft. Yep.
Second youngest, I think, if I'm not mistaken. And his mentality is that you don't see sometimes in 24, 25-year-old people, and where he wants to get better. So wherever his floor is, wherever you compare it to this guy, that guy, wherever it is, I think because of his desire to get better. Like, let's be honest. Like Joakim Noah wasn't a great player, but what did he do? He got better every year. He had a goofy ass shot, but he made it work. All right. He found his ass in the weight room every offseason, and you saw him coming off. So now he's banging. Now he's rebounding. Now he's blocking shots. Now he's playing defense. All these little things, a lot of things that don't come up in the stat sheet. Okay, altering shots or intimidating people from going to the lane. All those things you don't see, but these are things that get you better, that make this team better. Talk to me about his attitude and his mental makeup and how his hard work as a kid. You know, he had to deliver flowers for his mom, who has a flower shop out in Charlotte, where that work ethic is instilled. Like, okay, well, you got to go to school, but you also got work to do as well. Talk about where this kid can go with this attitude that I love as a former coach.
Yeah. So I think there's really two aspects of greatness that are often understated. Number one is work ethic, and that's what you're kind of touching on. And we saw that with all the great ones. When you get a combination like Michael Jordan, who has that greatness combined with athleticism, you're really in for something special. But there's really two aspects of a player, in my experience, coaching really talented kids, that is often not talked about, and that's like just the general attitude or confidence that when I get out on this court, I'm going to be the best mother effer on this court, and I'm going to destroy everyone. I think that's where you really get elite. And I'm not sure if Williams has it. I don't know. It's really hard to tell from our perspective whether he has that or not. That's something that even great players today who are all-stars don't necessarily have. Some of them are just too nice of guys. But, it's just more of like that killer instinct, that desire to win and to destroy, I think you also need. And, so as far as the work ethic, I'm pretty confident he has it. I'm really excited to see what he can become. But it's the difference between becoming, let's say Taj Gibson and, Michael Jordan. Like, it's the difference of becoming a really great player, approaching your ceiling, and becoming a multi-year all-star that people talk about, for years and years to come. So we'll see where it comes. I mean, the kid's no doubt super talented, super gifted athletically. And, there's nothing but the sky for this team. I'm really excited about, not just about him, but about some of the kids already on the team.
Fred, let me ask you this. Out of the guys that went in the top three, which one did you have rated the highest?
So I probably had, that's a great question. I actually had players that were picked later ahead of everyone picked in the top three. So let's start out with Ball. Out of the top three that were picked, I'd probably go with Edwards number one, and Wiseman and Ball were probably tied at two. So Edwards, I love everything about him, but again, the motor was in question. That's something I found really disturbing. I saw out of all the tape I watched, and I watched, probably weeks worth of tape on every player. The most impressive thing I saw was Anthony Edwards' second half against Michigan State, an excellent team. I think he scored 33 points. It was just awe-inspiring. The kid's got everything athletically and skill-wise to be a great player. But then you saw his effort on some games. I thought some big games, kind of disturbing. So I'm not really sure, where his motor is. And I think a lot with that kid depends on the interviews. Wiseman, I am not nearly as high on for a lot of other draftniks are, just primarily because of the position. I think the position is so devalued. I keep on asking myself, which one of these guys can you see on the court in the last 5 minutes of an NBA Finals game? And just the position of center is not as valuable. A lot of teams are going, playing at small ball. And it's just like, I have no idea. He can't shoot right now. That's not to say he can't develop it. But I have a lot of questions about him being a really effective long-term superstar. I think he'll have a long career. Don't get me wrong. He's going to be excellent defensively, and you do need that. But he can't stretch the floor. And I'm questioning his free throw shooting, so that's another big issue. Ball, no doubt, elite passing ability, some of the best I've ever seen, incredible vision. But how many times I've asked this question to so many so many people covering this draft, when have you ever seen an NBA All-Star great have the combination of a terrible shooter and a terrible defender? Like, when has that ever come together and realized an incredible player who's a multi-year All-Star? Unless he gets better in one of those things significantly. He was a 25% three-point shooter in Australia on 80 attempts. It's horrible. He was a terrible shooter and a horrible defender, one of the worst in that league. That combination could potentially cause major issues. So the guys I was highest on in this draft, without a doubt, was Okoro. I also love the guy, unfortunately, Aaron Nesmith, who went to Boston. Best shooter in the draft, best three-point shooter, carried Vanderbilt. Love the kid. I have no idea why he fell that far. I liked a lot of players. I didn't really love anybody outside of Okoro. So it's going to be interesting going forward. But, big picture guy, one guy definitely didn't like was Denny Average. I think he's going to be a bust. But I will say, one thing to remember, guys, is 2007, the Bulls drafted Jakeem Noah. 2008, they took Derrick Rose. 2009, they took Taj Gibson at 26. 2010, they traded their first-round pick to clear up space to try to sign some free agents. In 2011, they drafted Jimmy Butler at 30, and they also took Niko Mirotic in that draft. Those 5 years, I would argue, 4 of those 5 years is the best that any GM has ever drafted in the history of the Chicago Bulls. I mean, as far as like getting incredible players, they got an MVP, they got an all-defensive player who was top 5 in MVP voting in Noah. They got an all-NBA player in Butler at 30. The
Great
two
role
best
player in Taj
Gibson, a legend in this town.
Mm-hmm.
And yet, within a decade, they were basically run out and called incompetent by the fan base. So all that matters is how good these guys develop, where they end up. Because, right now everything's rosy with Arturas, but, he's not perfect either. He was part of a Denver organization that traded Donovan Mitchell for garbage.
Mm-hmm.
So everybody makes mistakes. It's just a matter of what we do with the players that we have, how they develop them for him to achieve greatness. I think he's a very smart man, but nobody's perfect. And I didn't think the issue with Gar Pax was their drafting. I thought they did very well over the course of 2 decades almost. What they did wrong, especially at the end, was player development and finding a head coach who was halfway competent.
Dude, that's deep, dude. That's good stuff. And I agree with you. I love the talent. I've never I mean, you and I are in sync in that one. Is I thought they had good talent. I did. And you saw it, we forgot BG7, Ben Gordon, dude, that dude's a stud, that whole play at Boston series.
Lou same draft.
You had players. So real quick, talk to me a lot about this Anthony Edwards kid. I know it's Bulls, but one of the things that Kenneth mentioned and actually Ivan and I mentioned, this guy is a big time football player. Yeah. And how much is going to affect his motor? Because it sounds like it already has. This guy, football and basketball are 2 different sports. It would be impossible to play both, unlike baseball and football, like Dion and Bo did at some particular point. But talk to me about this kid, and could that be or was that a red flag for people to get him, knowing that his heart and his true essence is football? He just played basketball, just happened to be really good at it.
Yeah, I don't think it's necessarily a red flag. It's just that you got to spend time with him and really understand, does he love the game? Does he really want to become the best player that he can be? And I've seen it both ways. Like I've seen, I'm coaching a kid right now that just is starting basketball as a 6th grader, and he played football. And I love this kid. He's super physical. He has a desire to win. He plays really hard defense, but he's primarily a football player, playing basketball. He can develop into something great in the game of basketball, but it's really hard to understand if those kids really love the game. It just depends on the individual, and I can't say either way for his Edwards. All I can tell you is I was disturbed by some video I saw in some key games that I didn't think he was playing very hard. I never once had that a question with Okoro. Anybody who's watched like 4 games of Okoro knows this guy is playing as hard as you can possibly play every minute of the game. He's assigned to the best opponent's offensive player, and he was shutting these guys down. And I love guys like that. I do. And I think it's really hard to teach that motor. And the good news is Williams has a lot of that too. Other guys in this draft, I didn't think played with a high motor. Ball, I was mortified watching some of the stuff I saw on tape of the way he played defense in Australia. It was an embarrassment to the game. So, there's a guy who's, I'm not saying handed stuff, but he's made a lot of money at a very young age. I don't know how hard does he really want it as bad as someone else? Who knows? It's a great question, though. Like, I feel that we're doing a disservice to our kids right now, really pigeoning them into
specialists
one sport. I think it's the biggest mistake with kids right now. I played 3 sports. And I think now my son was on a travel baseball team and a travel basketball team. He had so many games and so many practices with baseball, and he was so unhappy. I could tell he was he lost the love of the game was absolutely torn out of him because we were practicing every day in January. We're in a gym and they're slapping grounders at him at 125 miles an hour. Like he's just like, what am I doing? So I pulled him out of baseball and he's concentrating on basketball. But I think that's a negative in today's society. We really need to have these kids playing multiple sports. Great question for probably another show.
No, it's fine because as a former high school football coach, like I wanted my kids, like you're playing another sport. I had no single sport athletes, especially on my defense. If I had a couple basketball players, if you're not playing basketball, then you're wrestling. If you're not wrestling, then you're running track with me, and we're indoor and outdoor. And you might be one of the fat boys, but then you're throwing that shot put and you're doing a lot of stuff, but you're still sprint training with my sprinters because I needed fast linemen. So and plus also muscle memory. When you do different sports, your body is contorted and put in different situations. So when you're in a situation if your body happens to be in an awkward position on the basketball court that is more common in football, your body will know how to react because it's been in that situation on the football field. I think that's what really happens with a lot. I think that was one of the biggest things with Derrick Rose was just his specialization. Just you got to get your muscles using different things. And also with kids, when you do have different sports, some excel more than others. So he might not be a good football player, but he's a phenomenal leader as a basketball player because he's good. Okay, yeah. So when he goes back to playing football, now the leadership skills that he's developed and the confidence as a leader can transfer over to some sports. So I just think that it's imperative that we put kids in multiple minimum two sports.
I agree 100%. 100% agree.
So wait, the kid that you have, the sixth grader kid with the football kid, does he look like Khalil Mack in that Bulls jersey when he's walking around?
I wish he looked Khalil Mack. No, he just he plays like a football player. He's extremely physical on defense, and that's hard to teach. Like some kids, you guys have coach, right? Some kids are just let's get it on, let's mix it up, and other kids are a little bit reticent for contact. So
yeah, especially basketball.
Yeah, especially basketball. I can't recommend it enough.
We had a kid because I would beg the guys because I was a Curie, and I would beg Larry and Mike. I'm like, dude, give me your boys, man. Let me get them in the weight room. Let them get them on the field. So we had this one guy who was, I want to say like 8th, 9th guy off thing. So he got involved in our weightlifting program. He was a defensive end. He was nice, long, lanky kid. Dude, the kid ended up having like 10 sacks because he has people still block him, and he just reaches over and grabs the quarterback because he's got like a 37-inch arm length. You know what I mean? And he goes back to basketball after the season, and those guys are like, dude, any of my guys that you want, you can have. Like, what way? He's like, this kid is aggressive. Like he threw some kid down, like they both went for a rebound and he yanked it and threw it around. And he goes, this kid is not afraid. He goes, it's a big difference from where he came in as a freshman because I had him as a junior. And he goes to where he is now, his aggressiveness and his ability and his refusal to lose a rebound, to get boxed out, anything. He goes, you do that with the rest of my players, any other players you want. And that was just really cool when, to see a kid who came out of his comfort zone, was a decent basketball player, got him on the football field, got more aggressive, got bigger, got stronger, got faster, and made him a better basketball player.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Fred, let me ask you this. With the players that were given a sign by the Bulls, where you're looking at the fact that the Denzel Valentine and that they let Chris Dunn go, even though we know Chris Dunn being a one-dimensional player, even though he became a really good defender. I thought he would become the defender that he is. And you look at Shaq Harrison. What are your thoughts on them choosing to let those two players go and signing Denzel Valentine to a contract?
Wow, that's a loaded question because, well, first of all, there's few people who cover the Bulls that are been more of a Denzel Valentine fan than me. I think what I saw last year was the most appalling display of a head coach submarining a player's career. What Jim Boylan did to Denzel Valentine was an abomination. Mm-hmm. If you look at this team last year, we started out the season, we lost a 10-point lead in Charlotte. Zach played hero ball on the stretch. Unfortunately, we lost that first game. We lost, a lot of tough games in those first 10 games. Right before Otto Porter Jr. went down, we had a 19-point lead against the Lakers. We blew that lead with some awful coaching in the third and fourth quarter. I'm not going to get into specifics on that. We win the next game against Atlanta, and that's the last time Otto Porter Jr. played. Chandler Hutchinson was injured again also. He's the backup 3. At that point, Denzel Valentine should have been inserted in the starting lineup as a starting 3. Instead, he goes with these moronic. He has his coach. I call it the coach's son. He's in love with Archie, Ryan Archie, who, he's a nice kid and all that, but he's a third-string point guard who really barely should be hanging on in the league, and yet he's going ahead of the rotation over Denzel Valentine. Denzel Valentine is arguably the best playmaker, passer on the team last year. He has no faults on the offensive end. He's an excellent shooter, excellent rebounder for his position, an excellent passer, and yet he's stuck to the bench for the vast majority of the year. So that was appalling, and I'm glad that I think Arturis sees that this kid can do a lot in the offensive end. Yeah, sure, he has deficiencies defensively, but he's got great length that cover that up. I was really disappointed they didn't offer a contract to Chris Dunn, who I thought was elite defensively. You need a guy to pick up the best perimeter players in this league, and he was the best perimeter defender that we had. It's no coincidence in the game that he went down in the first minute against the Nets that Kyrie Irving went on to score 50-plus in 30 minutes or 20 minutes or some insane number. And we lost, I think, the next 9 out of 10 games. Our perimeter defense just absolutely collapsed after he went. So unless we do something to address that, like kind of the head of the spear there, and replace him and Shaq Harrison, who I think was a far lesser player than Dunn, even defensively, I think we definitely need to get somebody who's a step up in that position as a perimeter defender from the guard position. So I don't know how they're going to address it, but I was disappointed they let him go. I was happy they signed Valentine or offered him a qualifying offer, but we'll see where that goes too. I think he's going to have a great year.
Guys, we're joined by Fred Pfeiffer, Seed Red Fred, as he's well known in and around the Chicago sports talk land. Talk a little Bulls basketball right here for another moment or so on Shawn and Maya on SportsZone Chicago. Talk to me a little bit about Billy the Kid and his staff. Tell me how important it is that you have a young guy, Zach LaVine, who's a point guard, Kobe White, who's a point guard. They're pretty much interchangeable. Denzel Valentine, okay, who'll be running that second unit. Tell me how important it is going to be coached by a guy like Billy Donovan, who was a phenomenal point guard in his day, under Rick Pitino of Providence, but also a Maurice Cheeks, Chicago's very own, a guy who's a Hall of Famer, a guy who was a defensive stalwart multiple times, second team defensive, all defensive team. How important is it going to be for these guys who are going to handle the ball to be coached by two guys who are pretty darn good at running an offense?
I think it's going to be the biggest changes in the delta between this coaching staff and what we had last year. You can't underestimate it. You can't overestimate it. It's there's two types of coaches. There's coaches who ask the talent to adapt to their system, and there's coaches who ask the adapt their system to the talent. Boylan was a moronic guy who asked guys to do things that they really couldn't do. I really kind of point to Thad Young. Thad Young took something like 223 pointers in 60, in a limited season, in the season that was cut short by COVID. In the previous 3 years for Indiana, he never shot over 200, and he played almost the entire season. Thad Young is not a three-point shooter. That's not what he does best. Another example I like to point out consistently is Wendell Carter Jr. I watched almost every game he played at Duke. I never saw him. I don't recall one time where he played with a back to the basket in the low post as a center. The first time this guy came back from injury, Boylan calls out a play, which is a good idea. Let's get him a touch, get him a play, get him back into the flow of things. What does he do? He puts him with his back to the basket in the low post like it's 1989 and he's Patrick Ewing. That's not what he does well. That's not what he does well. He plays in the high post. He's an excellent passer. He's an excellent picker. And he could shoot the ball, I think, at a very good level, which, of course, we haven't seen here in Chicago because they've mishandled how to handle this guy and take his strengths and optimize that for the offense. Donovan will do the exact opposite. He's going to see, what do I have? What do they do well? And I'm going to develop an offense around it. The key for the Bulls, in my opinion, to really hit all things running, and I think Donovan's going to realize this, and I've seen a lot of video which kind of indicates they're going to go in this direction. If you have Lauri Markkanen and Wendell Carter Jr. hitting the three and pulling bigs out and creating lanes for Kobe White and Zach LaVine to attack the rim, I think that's going to yield incredible things for this offense, massive improvements. And for whatever reason, Lauri Markkanen has not achieved or come close to his shooting ceiling. He's like tapped out at 35, 36% from 3-point range. He needs to be closer to 40. And Wendell Carter Jr. needs to shoot threes, and he shot at a 40% rate in college. What has happened here? Why has he not developed that skill? Well, I think there's a little bit of window when you see the moronic Boylan putting him in the low post on the first touch. That's not what he does. Develop that skill, develop that ability for him to shoot threes, and it's going to create much greater opportunities for the offense as a whole. I think that's what Billy Donovan's going to do. I cannot wait to see what he does.
Hey, Fred, great stuff, buddy. I appreciate it. It's good. First of all, it's good talking to you. We haven't had a talk in a minute, and but great stuff, man. I appreciate it. Do me a favor, though. Let everyone know where they can find you and your work online.
Yeah, so 2 podcasts. I'm obviously Chicago Bullseye, which is my personal one I've been doing for like 13 years, but also the Big Red Bus with the podfather Doug Tonis. I really hope you guys check that out. That's been a good show for us, and we're going to probably start a weekly video show roundtable with the Big Red Bus too. So we're really looking forward to that. You can just go to Alexa and say, play the Big Red Bus to hear that show. So, guys, I can't thank you enough. Kenneth, it's great seeing you and Shawn.
Good to meet you, man.
Yeah, I love listening to your show. You guys do a fantastic job and watching your show. And, this is really going to be a great time, I think, for Bulls fans going forward, because the city is in sports purgatory with the Bears on the downside, the Cubs on the downside, the Sox obviously making a huge mistake in their hiring of their manager. The Bulls are on the way up. And the Bulls are going to carry us back to heights we haven't seen since the Jordan years. I really believe it. 7 pick in 17, 7 pick in 18, 7 pick in 19. The guy who should have been 7 pick in 20. And then obviously 7th title in probably 20, 23, 24, maybe right around there.
Oh, you put it out there.
Good stuff. Good stuff.
Hey, great stuff, buddy. We'll be in touch soon, man. Thanks.
Take it easy, guys.
All right, Fred. Guys,
take us to the weekend with that. Take us to the weekend with that, Fred. It's still good.
I'm telling you. I
was so happy. I was so happy he put Boylan on blast for trying to sabotage Denzel Valentine's career. I was saying it throughout the season. I was like, yo, Denzel hasn't been in the game. Like, Denzel hasn't seen the floor in a month. Like, Denzel hasn't seen the floor whatsoever. And you got Archie Iacono running around there. Like you said, he try hard, but, he's putting up like 2 points and just contributing nothing else but, effort. Like, spare me with all that. Like, like you said, like Fred said, give me Denzel with his court vision. Give me his playmaking ability all day over
3-point shooting.
Any Boylan boy, any Boylan guy, I'm done with. Just go ahead and let me see Denzel shine under one of these guys now, under Donovan and Mo Cheeks.
And that's the thing is, like, you get a guy when you come out of a Tom Izzo program, 4 years, you got a guy with a high basketball IQ. Okay. Mm-hmm. And that, to me, that's more important than the athleticism and everything, because you can use that IQ to combat someone's athleticism. You can use their athleticism against them. And not that he's a mope, but I'm just saying that he's not as athletic. But when you come out of a Tom Izzo program, so he's limited a little bit athletically, but when your basketball IQ is pretty high, that makes you a very valuable piece. And he's one of the guys that I think, like, I'd love him running that second unit. I could see like he could be the leader of the bench mob. How was it, 3.0 now, 4.0? How many bench mobs we had? But those are the guys. But something like that, when you guys like, all right, sick them. Not now all of a sudden, if you got a lead, they extend it. If you're behind, they get you a lead. You know what I mean? These are the things that you want your second unit doing. And this is a guy that I think can run the second unit well, efficiently, and especially with the tutelage of Billy the Kid and Mo Cheeks. Come on, man. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about.
I feel like, and I know you're about to go, Kenneth, but I feel like Denzel is our martyr. Like, Denzel was like, he was the guy that was taking. He was the guy that was like, oh yeah, Boylan, yeah, I'm not gonna go play with this shit. So once you saw him be cast off and pretty much blackballed on the team, like, you knew it was going downhill for Boylan. I was always like, man, if Denzel could ever get on the court, he would be a huge help. I just never thought it was going to be like some sabotage with Jim Boylan. I never thought it was going to be some sabotage. But as soon as he said it, I was like, man, if he sees it and I see it, what does everybody else see?
Yeah. Well, listen, we gotta take a quick break. On the other side of the break, we have a special guest. He was able to come on. He moved some stuff around for us. So me and Ken are going to welcome Lance Irvin. He's one half of the show. What's up, cuz? What's up, cuz? And we're going to talk to him so a little more basketball. So don't go anywhere, folks. Keep it locked right here. Lance C. Irvin, He is the men's head basketball coach at Chicago State University. Coming up next, right here, Shawn and Maya in the morning on SportsZone Chicago.
BoomerNaturals.com presents the Sports Flash on 1330 and 95.9 The Zone. NBA free agency officially gets underway tonight at 5 Central. The Bulls not with a lot of flexibility with the salary cap. Executive VP of Basketball Operations Arturas Karnisovas says the team will be picky as they look to add some shooting depth. More than 100 players around the league will become unrestricted free agents. Point guard Chris Dunn and Shaquille Harrison will get to test the free agent market after the team made a $4.7 million qualifying offer to 2016 first-round pick Denzel Valentine. Perfect time for a bye week for the Bears. They've lost 4 in a row and are dealing with a slew of injuries. At 5-5, they're second in the NFC North behind 7-2 Green Bay. That's the next team they'll face a week from this Sunday. Boomer Naturals, your source for 3-layer protective face masks. Breathable protection for adults and kids. Save 20% with promo code SPORTS at BoomerNaturals.com. Chuck Sanders, that's the Sports Flash, 1330 95.9 The Zone.
Javier's Auto Body is colliding with a shortage of licensed techs.
That 2017 is waiting on a clear coat. That 09 needs its left rear sanded, pounded, and painted. And the guy over there is waiting on an estimate.
It's time to hire.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. The moment you sponsor a job on Indeed, you get a short list of quality candidates from our resume database. Indeed delivers 2.5 times more hires than the other branded job sites combined, according to Breezy HR 2019. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get a $75 credit for your first job post. Terms and conditions apply.
I'm Dr. Baker, an ER physician. If you're having leg pain, swelling, or redness, but haven't talked to your doctor yet, don't wait. This could be deep vein thrombosis, a blood clot which could travel to your lungs and lead to a pulmonary embolism, which could cause chest pain or discomfort or difficulty breathing and be deadly. Your symptoms could mean something serious, so don't wait. Talk to a doctor right away, by phone, online, or in person.
Brought to you by Bristol Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
Welcome back to Shawn and Maya in the morning on Sports Chicago. Sitting in is my guy Kenneth Davis from that Davis Show. Any big plans this weekend, Papa?
Hell no, man. This Rona is freaking out the streets. What you talking about? I know you can't sit yourself still sometimes or whatever. Now the walks with moms is fine, but I know you like to be all in the streets. No, I have no plans whatsoever. Sooner or later, I guess we need to get our food for our celebration for the family. I'm not going to call it the thing where you take the land from the First Nations.
People were there.
Yeah, people that were there, steal it. But
look what I discovered.
Right. Listen, it was here already, but I found it, right? But that's probably the only thing outside of that. And then next week, my niece, ironically, she was born on Thanksgiving, and it came back around. Her birthday falls on Thanksgiving again. So
no way. That's
right,
wild.
yeah. So it was funny when you were talking about she spent the night 2 weeks ago, and I showed her the pictures of me holding her from going to the hospital on Thanksgiving.
Shut up. That's dope. That's
so
dope.
that outside of that, I don't have much going on outside of that, bro.
No, me either, bro. I'm even as much as I used to love to run the
street. You about to fix somebody credit. You about to sit there and go to Michigan.
Oh, that's online.
Okay.
Credit's fixing online. Michigan's too cold to be on the beach. So
okay, I'm just checking. I worry about you occasionally. I worry about you.
Hey, I was in even the backyard during this thing, or I was in the garage in this thing, so I'd be out, but I'm just outside in front of my house. Okay. All right. Out back in front of the house. Yeah. You know what I mean? Or at the gas station, grabbing a newspaper, something like that. That was pretty much it. But our next guest is a guy that he gave me some static for not having him on earlier. Thought it was funny, but this is a guy that we definitely want to have on, especially after the NBA draft of the Bulls guy, because what better person to get a breakdown than an actual coach, guys. He's a men's basketball coach at Chicago State University, and he is Chicago basketball royalty. If you don't know the name, then you ain't from the Chi. That's for damn sure. Right. You can find him on Twitter at Lance C. Irvin. Guys, let's bring back, and he's also the co-host of What's Up Cuz with our guy Jason Palmer, and you guys see him here on the show all the time. So let's bring him out, our boy Lance Irvin. Lance, what's up, buddy? How are you?
Man, you know what, Shawn? Thanks for having me on, and I feel special now because you got my man KD Kenneth Davis on.
How you doing? I didn't even know he's gonna be here today. That makes me feel good.
Hey guys, do me a favor. Let me know when you're done. I'll be over here.
That man knows how to talk and talk. KD, I feel special with you. Hey, KD, can you believe Shawn didn't want to have me on the show? I had to really beg to be on the show.
What?
Shawn, I had to beg. See, I told him, and I told him, and Lance, if I nope, listen, I'll tell you like I told Lance. I'm like, first of all, Lance, I was like, I've been, whose side are you on? First of all, we have a talk a little bit after this, Ivan. Hold on, player. But I was like, first of all, I said, there's no reason we didn't have you on. That's for starters. I said, but secondly, I didn't know how early you got up, man. I was like, sometimes people don't get up in the morning. And it's a little early sometimes, you haven't been coaching, you haven't nothing. I'm like, but we will get you on. And I apologize first and foremost. Did I not, Lance? I'm like, there was no reason to shoot. You were not.
But Shawn, I didn't expect that from you. I expect Maya to do me like that. I told you. I expect that coming from Maya.
But I kept it 100, man. I ain't gonna lie to you. You're my guy.
Then Kenneth, Jason tried to slip it in. Well, I was on the Shawn and Maya show this morning. I said, you know what?
Oh,
that's how he did me. No, bro, I'm just playing. What's up, fellas?
I like that hoodie right there.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
I'm feeling that.
You got the Bill Belichick look, the hoodie with the cut-off sleeves and everything. Okay.
It's almost time for practice. I'm gonna see if I can find you guys one. See what we could do. Find you guys from Chicago.
Dude, I'll rock that. And you sponsored by Nike too?
For sure. No, I see what I could do. See what I could do.
Well, let's get into an area I think you know a little bit about. That's basketball. And you know what? The Bulls drafted Patrick Williams. Talk to me about your pick. I was telling we had a guest on earlier, but I was telling Kenneth as well. Like, I'm liking this pick more and more by the day. It's not necessarily just the pick. It's everything that's encompassing it. So when you talk about AK, it was about him talking about him hiring people specifically for player development. Mm-hmm. And then they draft this kid, and then you look at this kid, and this kid is a worker. The kid, he's already said, I don't care, whatever I got to do to get better, I'll do to get better. All that combined is really making me like this pick. What are your thoughts on Patrick Williams as the Bulls' #1 pick?
You know what? I didn't think it was no clear-cut superstar past the first couple of picks, but I love the Patrick Williams pick. And the reason why I like it is that we had the opportunity to play him at Florida State last year. So I watched Florida State multiple times on tape, and I'm a huge Leonard Hamilton fan, And one thing is that about him, he plays hard, and he could play multiple positions. He's a versatile type player. Well, I think he could play 1 through 4, even can play some 5 because he can handle the basketball. Don't let his stats fool you because Florida State was a deep team. They played 12, 13, sometimes 14 guys. So the kid is a good athlete. He plays hard. He's hungry, and he's physical. And like I said, he's a high character type guy, and I think you could win with him.
Talk that talk.
You know what? I loved it because of the fact that he was the sixth man. You mentioned it. They're deep. They ran 10, 12 deep. All right, but then for him to be the sixth guy, for him to be the sixth player of the year, for him to lead the team in scoring from that sixth, from being off the bench, it seems to me as I started watching tape on him, like I don't see why people are giving so much stacks to AK. Like, why they get this dude is a stud?
They didn't watch the tape.
Apparently not. Apparently not. You're right.
You can get fooled by him averaging 9 and 4 because they used to people averaging like 20 and 10 or whatever. But their team was so deep, and he had the opportunity to grow with Coach Hamilton, who was an NBA type coach. He coached for the Wizards. Don't mistake that. Like, the kid can play. And the talent they had at Florida State, if the season wouldn't have ended, they probably had a chance to win a national championship. If it was an NCAA tournament, this kid's name really would have been out there because that's how good he is.
Lance, let's just take Patrick Williams off of the board. If he was off of the board, which player would you have selected for the Bulls at the 4th pick?
You know what? That's a great question. And I was thinking about, like, who do you really take? Like, who can I take? That probably was like a no-brainer. I thought the Bulls needed some inside help. The kid Jalen Stick Smith that played for Maryland, he's a long, athletic, versatile player. I think Sticks might be about 6'10", 6'11". He's an excellent shot blocker. He can shoot the three. He's quick. Once he gets bigger and stronger, I think he'll be a great NBA player because you can't teach length. You can't teach shot blocking. And at that size, he can shoot a little bit also. So
I did like him in Maryland too.
I think, and he's used to winning also. So I was a big Sticks fan. You know, they called him Sticks because he was so skinny, but he picked up like 25, 30 pounds. See, he put on that stuff. He was like you, Kenneth, and he was like Shawn. He was like,
he bulked up.
Yeah, so he bulked up. So I love that kid because I remember where he came from and where he is right now.
Hey, Lance, so talk to me. And I asked our last guest this, and I want you, as a former player, as a coach, talk to me how important it is this player development is going to be for our guards. When you got guys like Billy the Kid, who was a phenomenal point guard at Providence under Rick Pitino. Then you have some guy named Maurice something or other from Chicago, who's only a Hall of Famer. Who's only a Hall of Famer and second team consistent, first or second team defensive player. How important is that going to be to our people who handle the ball? Kobe White, Zach LaVine, even Denzel Valentine on the second unit in running this offense more efficiently.
From a coaching standpoint, I think it's huge when you have guys that play the spot and played at a high level. Nothing against guys that didn't play, but when you have a guy like Maurice Cheeks, who was an NBA All-Star, played probably one of the best players in the world, Dr. J. He understands what you need to do to run a team. Also, with Mo Cheeks, he knows the type players, the type guards that us fans in Chicago love. So, you have to have a little bit of grit and a little bit of grind about yourself. And Billy Donovan, playing the position at Providence, coaching for years, had success with the Oklahoma City Thunder, just left Chris Paul. How can you really not listen to a guy like that? Both of those guys, they played, they learned, and they really good coaches. And their communication skills are off the chains. Because when you having guys learn and play and been as successful as the guys they've been around, how can you not listen to them? So they bring you instant credibility when they walk in through the door.
Lance, let me ask you this. Looking at this team and you being a coach, what type of offense and defense would you implement to accentuate the best attributes of the players that are on the squad right now?
I think with their athleticism and their length, you kind of have to open up the court a little bit more, and you have to run more pick and rolls. I think the NBA has turned into a pick and roll type system. So with the type players they have, I probably run a little bit more pick and roll, but you also have the ability to put pressure on the ball because they have some long guys. Chandler Hudson is about 6'7". He has some length. Lauri Markkanen, who I love, I think he's one good year away from being a superstar. He has length. You have Zach, that's about 6'6", 6'7". He's long. And Chris Dunn on the basketball, he has some length. And Kobe White has some size, and he can shoot also. My question with them is, what other star do you have to go with Zach? That's why I'm always talking about Lauri Markkanen. Because the NBA, the teams that wins, you normally have two really good players on your teams. And right now, we know Zach is going to give you 25, 20 a night. We already know that about Zach. Zach is proven as long as he stay away from injury. But what's our other guy who we know that's a top player in the NBA? And I think it has to be Lauri Markkanen, right, guys?
Listen, that's what I want. That's what I really want. But these last couple of years, Lance, it's been where you at, Lauri?
Yeah. Hey, guys, we're joined by Lance Irvin. He is the men's head basketball coach at Chicago State, talking Bulls draft picks right here on Shawn and Maya in the morning on SportsZone Chicago. And, I'm in sync with you guys. I love Lauri Markkanen. A couple of years ago, he started, what did he drop, 30 at opening night? And the thing that I loved about him, and I'm sure you do too, guys, is that we just talked about what Joakim did. Joakim Noah. Like, Joakim wasn't a phenomenal player, but what he did is he gave you heart. He lived in the weight room, and you saw it every year. That Joker came in, his arms were thicker every single year, and to be that long and to notice that he's gaining size in his arms means he spent a lot of time in that weight room, and his rebounding, his defense, all these things. And I think Lauri was ready for that. I think he put on some weight And so he's ready to bang down low and then pull you out and then, then take you off the dribble. I think he is a poor man's Dirk Nowitzki with his skill set where he can do everything, from back you down, from hit you from outside the arc, from take you off the dribble. And if he can become half of what we think he can be, then you're right, Lance. I think that's Chicago's second star.
You know what? I had the opportunity to watch the Bulls practice for 2 years in a row. And I saw him actually, they had these one-on-one contests during practices. And my brother Nick and I, we were sitting there like, look how long he is. He can pass, he can handle, he can shoot. And he actually won 2 of the one-on-one contests that they had when I was out there watching him. I think he just needs a coach that's going to believe in him to get the best out of him, because he has been through a couple of coaching changes, right? So sometimes you just need that one voice in your head to tell you, look, big fella, I believe in you. Come on, we're going to run this for you. We're going to do this for you. So I think he's a Billy Donovan away, really, from succeeding and getting to the point where we think he could be.
I nicknamed him the Finnish Lord his rookie year since he's from Finland. And the thing was, and this is where Laurie hurts me, because some of this is on Laurie. It's coaching too, but it's on him. That first year, if you can go back to that Golden State game where he was in the pocket on KD, you know what I'm saying? Defensively, he was getting, like, to be a guy that's actually, well, he's thicker than KD, but with KD to be such an athlete and have such a first step, he was right there. And then go back to the block he had on Steph where he smacked the ball into his face when Steph was laying on the ground. And it's like, even that freshman sophomore game, that All-Star weekend, and I was screaming at the TV screen like, Lord, go get the ball and take it out. You can sit there, and because he's that type of player, he has that skill set, but it's like, dude, you got too many skills. Like, and I'll tell you this, my last part. I hate the fact that, and it's not a knock on Zach, but Laurie defers to Zach. It's like, Laurie, you don't need to defer to anybody. Go and get it. And that's my only thing, where it's on Garpax for not fostering and bringing more out of him, but it's on Laurie for not wanting to get more out of himself.
You know what? You're right about that. You bring up some excellent points. Some of that you have to have, look, I'm just going to go get it. But I remember talking to Shawn Miller last year, who coached him at Arizona. And I said, Shawn, man, I love Laurie. Is he really as good as I think he is? Shawn was like, Lance, he's better than what you're seeing right now. So, and Shawn coached him. So he has to bring it out. You're right, KD. I think it has to be in him a little bit more also. Because why defer? I mean, Zach is going to get his anyway. But like you said, though, it's time for him to bring it out now.
I think part of it for me is might be his confidence, dude. Because, his first year, I think, being from Europe, they tend to get that little a label of being soft. But you played at Arizona for a year. Like, them jokes, they'll harden you up quick, fast, in a hurry, because there's a lot of smack talking. And I think so when he came out, he was good. But I think the injuries, I think the inability to use him properly, I think that's really jacked up his head. And I think he needs to get back to that, because you're right. He needs to be that other dog. And I don't see that dog in him like I saw that first year when he was really trying to prove himself in the league. He needs that dog that, hey, Zach, you know what? You're the man. So am I. And, and I think once he gets that, I think Zach will gain a lot more respect for him and say, hey, and Zach won't be forced to try and do everything, because he realized he got another dog, standing shoulder to shoulder.
Just like, for instance, I'm an Anthony Davis fan, right? Love Anthony Davis. And I had the opportunity to be on the Zoom with his assistant coach, right? And I said, it seemed like Anthony Davis got better when he left the Pelicans. Seemed like he became more assertive and got with the Lakers. And he told us, he said he had LeBron in his ear putting a battery pack on him, telling him, no, man, you got to do this, this, and this. No, come on, you're going to step it up. He said he had LeBron on him every day, putting a battery pack on him. No, I believe in you. No, get up. We're going to do this. So sometimes you need that type person in your ear also that can help you get over that hump. Because AD was a lot different in this playoffs than he was with the Pelicans, I think, because he used to hit his hand with the Pelicans from time to time or twist his ankle. He might have not came back for a week or two. I mean, we all saw it. Tell me if I'm saying something wrong. But when he fell with the Lakers and twisted his ankle, LeBron to give him that look, and he run right back on the court.
Yeah. Are you hurt? Are you injured, or are you hurt? If you're hurt, get your ass up. We got
exactly. He was like, "Come on, AD. I'm out here playing hurt. You gonna play hurt too." That's just some of the things. And I'm not saying AD soft, But sometimes you need a type guy in your ear. Hey, come on, now let's go. Let's go. We waiting on you. And that put that type pressure on you too. So he might need somebody like that getting on him also.
Makes total sense to me.
Yeah.
And I guess also that they don't have that player right now. But let me ask you this real quick. And I asked this to see Red Fred right before. When you look at the fact that Dunn and Shaq Harris didn't get qualified at offers and they gave one to Denzel Valentine, what are your thoughts on them choosing Valentine? And would you? I know you already preferred if they would have kept Dunn from what you said, and I was a big time Chris Dunn guy myself.
You know what? I like Chris Dunn from a defensive standpoint, but the league is much about shooting now, and that's a tough situation because I like Chris. And I'm a huge Michigan State fan, and I know Denzel can shoot a little bit better than Chris Dunn at this point in his career. But also, man, they might have another trade coming. Like, which free agent are they trying to get? Who would get traded at the end of the day? But I didn't know they let my man Chris Dunn go. They didn't qualify his offer. They gave him a non-qualifying offer.
Yeah.
That's tough. But you have Kobe White over there, and you have I think it's my man Saturansky over there. Sato can shoot too, and he has some length too. So I can see maybe with Chris Dunn to be the odd man out, because Kobe White probably at the end of the year, I thought Kobe White started getting better, but when you watched him in practice, I was like, Kobe White a bad boy. I didn't know he was as tall.
Yeah, 6'4".
I thought his afro made him tall. Like I walked up on him. I said, let me see how tall Kobe White. I'm like, Kobe White about my size, probably 6'1", 6'2". I was like, oh, you got to look at his size.
He's 6'5", 6'9" with the afro. For all my flesh people out there, if you don't know what I'm talking about.
Had a pretty looking stroke. Oh, his stroke was pretty. His stroke looked pretty.
Lance, let me ask you this. So what can we expect, you being the head coach of Chicago State? What can we expect from CSU this year, especially with the pandemic? How is that impacting what you guys are doing? And what are you going to do this year if everything goes well to take that team to the next level?
You know what, KD? That's a beautiful question. One thing I'm trying to do is make sure we're a little bit more physical this year, because in the past we wasn't as physical as a team that I would like. But some of that was due because of the injuries that we had. My first year, we had guys miss 44 games in total. Last year, I only had 2 guys that finished the whole year. So if we have the type year I know we can have, if we can avoid injuries, we'll be fine. So, we've been really more physical in practice this year. We actually have some size. I like the way practice has been going. But this COVID is tough, guys. Because, man, when guys get it, you out for 14 days. Scheduling is all over the place. Like, we had some games just got canceled the other day. IUPUI, we were supposed to open up the season with them. That game got canceled. So, everybody, it's like a marathon and a race. Coaches calling each other, coaches texting each other, trying to see how many games that we could get in. I was talking to Porter Mosier the other day. You guys know Loyola's been shut down for some time. So you'll never know with this COVID stuff. So I just try to take it day by day. We actually have a 7-footer from Luxembourg that's pretty good. And he's getting used to the physical style of basketball too. He was like, Coach, we're really not this physical over in Luxembourg. I'm like, well, we physical here, so you better get used to it.
Tabar was saying from our guy, the Untouchables. The guy just passed away.
Sean Connery.
Sean Connery. That's the Chicago way. Hey, Lance, great stuff, man. I appreciate your time this morning, and we'll definitely be in touch soon. Have you back on so we could talk a little more Chicago State basketball as the season draws closer, and we can find out more about your squad, and definitely love having you on, and you and Jason are just killing it, man. On What's Up, Cuz. Jesus Christ, you're getting everybody. It's just, you started off with who was the first show? It was the producer for it was Tim Hardaway. It was Tim Hardaway, and you had the producer of for Benji. Then you got people calling your show. You got Danny Manning, hey, I want to be on your show. I'm like, oh no, man, dude,
this Monday we actually have Chris Collins, the head coach of Northwestern. So Chris Collins is coming on at 7 p.m.
Dope.
So we're trying to get an NBA ref, if he could get it cleared, with the NBA Players Association. So we moving in the right way, and I appreciate you guys supporting us. But I have one question before I go. I gotta ask Kenneth this. I gotta ask KD. What's wrong with my Bears? Why do my Bears stink as bad as we're stinking right now?
Listen, I'm gonna tell you what. So I put out a show this week, and I titled it myself, "The Bears Headed in the Right Direction." All right. Because this is the question you really have to ask. The Bears suck. To answer your question, the Bears, their general manager, and Shawn will tell you this, and he said it. They put no equity, draft capital, in offensive line. All right, their coach doesn't know what he's doing as far as play calling whatsoever. That's not his forte. So let's take that off the table. But this is the question you have to ask yourself. 4 weeks ago, and we all knew it because all these games have been stressful. They were going to make their ass to the playoffs and get bounced. And we all knew in our hearts that this wasn't a real team. But what's happening now is, and you turn on national TV and they're opening up with the Bears are bad nationally. Ownership can't sit there and just keep the same status quo going as they would if it wasn't a national story. So it's actually good that they're being exposed the way they're being exposed, because they would have kept this shit going. Somebody, I promise you this, if they don't finish 500, and I'm not saying that should have been an excuse to allow anybody to stay. They finish under 500, somebody's going. And I mean, I want both of them to go. All right? Both of them need to. Ryan Pace should not get another choice. Yes, Mitch. Ryan Pace should not get another bite at the apple. But you could definitely see that Matt Nagy has been exposed. And I'll say it again. 2 years ago, I was a Matt Nagy guy, and I was wrong in being a Matt Nagy guy. There's been no growth. It's kind of like, Shawn, if you can remember, who was the Bears offensive coordinator when what's his name, Cunningham from that took over after Marty Schottenheimer for KC called it a razzle-dazzle offense? I can't remember who the offensive coordinator was, but he was basically explaining that the Bears offense was BS and there was nothing to it. And that's the same thing with this. Like you see people talk in the league about they don't really run the ball. It's about tricks. They're not punching anybody in their mouth. Like Matt Nagy, a guy that under Andy Reid really only had play calling for maybe 5 games, if that. Gary Crowton, thank you. So thank you, Phil. All right, let's see what's Phil. Yeah, Gary Crowton with his razzle dazzle off. But that's basically what they had. And even now, when you look at the league, like compared to that time, razzle dazzle could last you a season, which it lasted Matt Nagy that. But once the tape is out, they know what you're doing. And listen, Matt Nagy just does not know what he's doing. Again, I was wrong in being a fan of his. I wish him the best, but he's been exposed, to say the least.
Man, hey, Lance, you want to get some really good Bears talk? My next guest, he has a Tape Never Lies network. He's the draft doctor, Phillips. He's a football coach. His dad is a Hall of Fame football coach up in Connecticut, and he's gonna bring that ish, boy. With him, and that's why he named it the Tape Never Lies network. He's got no agenda. He doesn't like this guy because he's getting paid more, or he went to the college that I like. Is like, and you as a coach, I know you respect it. The tape never lies. So what I see on the tape, that's if you do good, I'll say good job, do better. And if you're bad, I'm gonna put my foot in your ass. And that's his agenda. Seeing what does the tape say? Not what I say, not what I want to say, not my hopes, because I like. What does the tape say? Because you know what? The tape never lies. So make sure you tune in, man, because Phil, this dude is awesome, and I love having him on every week. All right? Cool. All right, hey, Lance, again, we're going to have you back on soon, man. Talking CSU basketball. All right, guys. On the other side of the break, our guys, the draft doctor himself, Phillips. So don't go anywhere. We got some great Bears talk coming up. Keep it locked right here. Shawn and Maya in the morning on SportsZone Chicago.
BoomerNaturals.com presents the Sports Flash on 1330 and 95.9 The Zone. NBA free agency officially gets underway tonight at 5 Central. The Bulls not with a lot of flexibility with the salary cap. Executive VP of Basketball Operations Arturas Karnisovas says the team will be picky as they look to add some shooting depth. More than 100 players around the league will become unrestricted free agents. Point guard Chris Dunn and Shaquille Harrison will get to test the free agent market after the team made a $4.7 million qualifying offer to 2016 first-round pick Denzel Valentine. Perfect time for a bye week for the Bears. They've lost 4 in a row and are dealing with a slew of injuries. At 5-5, they're second in the NFC North behind 7-2 Green Bay. That's the next team they'll face a week from this Sunday. Boomer Naturals, your source for 3-layer protective face masks. Breathable protection for adults and kids. Save 20% with promo code SPORTS at boomernaturals.com. Chuck Sanders, that's the Sports Flash, 1330 95.9 The Zone.
Javier's Auto Body is colliding with a shortage of licensed techs.
That 2017 is waiting on a clear coat, that 09 needs its left rear sanded, pounded, and painted, and the guy over there is waiting on an estimate.
It's time to hire.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. The moment you sponsor a job on Indeed, you get a short list of quality candidates from our resume database. Indeed delivers 2.5 times more hires than the other branded job sites combined, according to Breezy HR 2019. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get a $75 credit for your first job post. Terms and conditions apply.
I'm Dr. Baker, an ER physician. If you're having leg pain, swelling, or redness, but haven't talked to your doctor yet, don't wait. This could be deep vein thrombosis, a blood clot which could travel to your lungs and lead to a pulmonary embolism, which could cause chest pain or discomfort or difficulty breathing and be deadly. Your symptoms could mean something serious, so don't wait. Talk to a doctor right away, by phone, online, or in person.
Brought to you by Bristol Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
Welcome back to Shawn and Maya in the morning on SportsZone Chicago on this TGI Mickey Ficky Friday, because it is the weekend, baby, and I am fired up. Beautiful 60-degree day here in the Chi. But don't get too used to it. The temperature is going to fall off the table tomorrow. It's going to be about 45 degrees tomorrow. But you know what? Like my mom always says, don't borrow the sorrow from tomorrow. I ain't going to worry about tomorrow. I'm going to worry about and enjoy today. Man, our next guest is a guy that I can't wait to talk. You know, I love talking with him every Friday. We talk Bears, and you know, it's a great thing. He is the one, the only, the draft doctor, and you can find him. Well, he's an IG guy. So if you go to Instagram, you can find him at Phil_Toshin, or if you want to find him on Twitter, it's at Fulfill the guy that's bring him on. He is the guy. He is from the Tape Never Lies Network, and that's exactly it. The Tape Never Lies, and I love it. He's brutal. He's to the point. But you know what? Being football guys, that's how we are. We're straight to the point. There's no pussyfooting. We're not sugarcoating anything. We're telling you how it is, because football is an alpha male sport. If you're an alpha male to play that sport, you need to be able to dealt with like an alpha male. So let's bring him on, man. Our good friend, Phil Atoshin. Phil, what's up, buddy? How you doing, Papa?
What's up, boys? Are we ready to huddle up, call plays?
I'm ready to roll, baby. I'm ready to roll.
I was ready week 3.
Do we? Anybody have what is his name? The running back from the Dolphins. What was his name? The Brown.
Jordan Howard. Oh,
no,
Jordan Howard.
The Wildcat. They used to run the Wild.
Ronnie Brown.
Ronnie Brown.
From Auburn.
Last time I checked, we don't have Ronnie Brown, but we got Cordarrelle Patterson. He's playing quarterback, kick returner. He's running the Wildcat. This coach, this staff continues to build around these special teamers. When
you build a team when you build a building or a foundation, a team on sand, you have no foundation, and that's pretty much all it is. It's tricks and gimmicks. It's double reverse, triple reverse. It's wildcat. It's, you know what I mean. It's nonsense, because you know what is we know football, as I said, it's an alpha male sport. And you can get cute for a season, half a season to a season. Right. But once the tape gets out on you, they're like, "Oh, I can stop that shit in a heartbeat. Watch."
Tape never lies.
You go and you smack him in the mouth on this option. You smack this guy in the mouth and see how things change. And that's one of the things that I love to do when I was a defensive coordinator.
Right.
Is, hey, you know what? Go smack him in the mouth. If they're gonna run an option, guess what? He is available to get smacked, and we would have a go. We have a guy. I'll let the quarterback run for 15 yards, and and we'll go crack that pitch back, right. And then all of a sudden, then I switch, and now you're going for the quarterback, and that pitch back is scared like a mug because he just got popped in the face 6-7 times in a row, and that's what we don't have, Phil. We don't have somebody who any nasty.
We have nasty. We have no nasty
on this team.
We have no nasty on offense. Roquan Smith and Khalil Mack and Akeem, Robert Quinn's getting a bad rap because the sacks aren't there, but I'm watching him play the game. There's nothing to be worried about. So when I look at this football team offensively, you got to go in pieces and parts. You know, football is almost like a fight. You can't be jabbing, and build your offense around, gimmicks. Excuse me. You can't be throwing uppercuts trying to make these gimmicks work. You need to step and jab and set it up and be peaceful with what the foundation, like you said, you have. Look at the first play of this game. I put up the tape never lies this morning. It was uploading. I just put it out, actually, literally 5-10 minutes before we came on the air, Shawn, here. And the very first offensive play, I put it up for the patrons, to be clear. It'll come out later today for those of you subscribers to our YouTube channel on the offensive side. But on the patron side, it's everything, the defense and the offense. And the very first play of the offense is a bubble screen. And they have a setup where they're running twins. And Anthony Miller is up front, and he has to block the corner. So he steps out, and he looks inside, and he's confused on the very first play of the game of who he's going to block, which sets up the whole process of this play, because not only is he confused, what happens when you're confused? You don't go full speed.
You don't block anybody usually.
He gets ass over tea kettled. Like he's got, I said it on the tape. I go, it's like he got thrown out of the fucking club for not paying his bill. He flies through the screen. It's unbelievable. This is how you're setting the tone. Think about this. Like the old man rolls over in his grave.
First play.
We're going to set first play of the game. We're going to set the tone. No, we're going to run a screen. And this is the same crap that you got with the head coach. So is it really a switching of play callers? They're trying everything, Shawn, to try to do something offensively. Last night on Keeping It 100, we had the great former Bear tight end Zach Miller on with us. And he was talking about, he was keeping it 100. He was against me with Coach Nagy. He's like, listen, this guy looks in the mirror. These are the things I don't see on the tape. I said, Zach, what you just said, Shawn, I don't see Charles Leno being the leader of men. Aggressiveness. I don't see it. I see Cody White here. That's it. We saw James Daniels earlier, but this offensive line is so pathetic. The coach is the problem, because you know that. It's like you're dating a girl, right? You know your plumbing sucks. Are you going to let her go use your bathroom? If you like her, you're not allowing her to use your bathroom. You're like, no, let's go at the restaurant. Get that crap fixed. The coach doesn't get that crap fixed. Let's go empties. I know our line sucks, but let's do 7-step drop and run everybody. It's 3rd and 5. They ran a motion in the biggest play of the game. You're down 6, right? You just got the ball back. You got great field position. Shawn, Ivan, they run Allen Robinson in motion. They identified man-to-man. Holy cow. They still run a screen on 3rd and 5 or 3rd and 6 to him with the man chasing him. The man just walks up. Affetti ain't getting out there to block him. It is Gary Crowton, like my boy said, Kenneth. I was hoping he'd stay. It is. It's like you're trying to do something, and then obviously the 4th down play, he's got Mooney going on a shallow cross. If he just dumps it there, let Mooney run and get the first. He takes the aggressive approach, Foles that is. He steps up and he delivers the ball. And sure enough, Anthony Miller, Shawn, my father was on BHL. We talked about this. He runs, he puts his hands up for 1 yard. It impedes your stride. He lays out, he hits him right in the hands, right on the fingers, and he drops it. This team needs guys to be Superman. They need every play. I don't care if it's a 5-yard out, you get 6. That's how bad this offense is. And you could see the frustration from Allen Robinson, Jimmy Graham. They're not blocking. They're not doing the little things that are going to help this team. So the whole thing, Shawn, sucks. The whole thing needs to be blown up because you don't have an identity in year 3. You tried to blame it on Mitch. You tried to replace him with Foles. You blamed Harry Heaston. You got Juan Castillo. At what point is the common denominator the guy that's pulling the strings? Exactly. It's so frustrating. I gave you I was so amped up because I was cutting this disgusting tape. And I'm like, I would never allow this shit to happen. I would hire you, Shawn. You be my defensive coordinator. I got Olin Kreutz being my OC. I'll be involved with the play calling and the planning. It's just unbelievable. It is.
So moving forward now, how much slack does Laser have? Okay, because he's Bill Laser didn't call his own plays. He's calling all of Matt Nagy's plays because this is what everybody's used to. So I mean, the change in play calling, there's different things. You saw the Bears go a little up tempo, which I liked, but now that you got the bye week, and now Laser can say, okay, this is crap, this is crap, this is crap. This is good. I can use this. I can use this. What do you expect from Bill Laser? Do you think he's going to be able to implement some of his own packages, some of his own schemes in addition, adding on to some of the plays that he likes from Matt Nagy? Because, let this guy do his job. Okay. Right. Step back and let him do his job. Like I said, the up tempo, once you identify if it's, and that's the whole purpose of people going in motion is to identify, is it man or is it zone? Okay, it's man. Well, guess what? Then I'm going to have a crossing route, put a defensive back in a trail position, and just throw the ball on time, lead him, let him go get the first down. How good do you think that Bill Laser can be now that we got the bye? He should have a little more autonomy in calling some plays.
Well, listen, there are no bad students. There's only bad teachers. So when you got fundamental flaws along the offensive line, Zach Miller brought this up, so I just always credit everybody who said something. It's something I've said, you said 100 times. It's cliche. It starts up front. You can have Walter Payton back there and trying to run outside zone or powers, and they can't block it. He's going to get stopped. It's the ultimate team sport. So play calling, F a play. Start keeping it simple. Condense your playbook. Nick Foles stunk the other night. So you could point the finger a bunch at Bill Laser like I did. I mean, that 3rd and 5 screen call is a wasted wildcat. They don't even mesh. You don't even mesh. They're trying to run read option with Nick Foles. He ain't pulling. What defense is going to be? We're all playing run. But he's not going to pull and run. Because your philosophy is more important than the actual fundamentals of football, then you become trapped in ego. And that's really where this whole thing is. Because to your question, I don't think Matt Nagy's saying, this is your job now. He's already said, well, I'm not just saying that I'm giving it forever. I'm just, he almost was feeling, and I said it on the show, like he wants Bill to fail. Because then he could say, see, it's not on me. It's on Ryan Pace. I need better players. And he has a point in that because they've never invested in the offensive line in regards to draft capital. Got no young linemen here. You got 6th and 7th round picks. You can't freaking throw wet wood on a fire. It's going to smoke. You got to start burning the wood that matters, that's going to freaking warm the house, heat the house. You can't heat here. All you getting is heat from all the fans in the media and everybody seeing who you truly are. You were a guy that liked to call plays. You're not a leader of men. There's no accountability, and there's no plan of attack every week. I said it to Zach Miller. I go, Zach, I'm sorry. I don't agree with you. I'm going to use the tight end coach as an example. Here's Kmet. You drafted 2nd. That's your plan. Don't tell me that was Ryan Pace. That's the head coach saying, I want this guy. You saw them get rid of Shaheen, missed pick in the second round tight end. You saw them get rid of Trey Burton, big tight end signing. This guy's all about the tight end from the Andy Reid offense. Well, let me tell you something. Andy Reid has generational talents all over the place. You got the tight end, best top 2 tight ends, him and Kittle in the NFL. You got Tyreek Hill, who's probably the most explosive wide receiver in the whole entire league. Now you combine them with other players. I forget the wide receiver. What's
Hardeman. Is it Hartman?
Hardman. You got the Sammy
Watkins.
These guys are the Bears were throwing money at Watkins and Robinson. These guys are elite talents on offense. The Bears have Allen Robinson, who's not twitchy. He's a receiver that's down jump balls. They're trying to make him twitchy and run bubble screens with him. Everything they do is a cadence to what somebody else is trying to do. You follow what I'm saying? In a copycat league, you have to be an individual that stands on their own. I'll steal from my father. I thought he made a great point on Bears Hour Live after the game. He said, as a high school coach, you don't have the opportunity to draft anybody. You get what you get. So you have to go into the talent that you have and be a teacher on fundamentals and what do they do best. That's what I have to. That's my offense. Not this is my offense. I run the West Coast. Mike Tomlin is a perfect example of somebody that said, wait a second, I run cover 2, Tampa 2. That's my thing. He went to Pittsburgh and he saw the talent and he said, I got to stay with this. And he understood the role of head coach. Head coach is not calling plays and pointing out fingers and doing the I'm going to be the superstar. The head coach is the leader. He's the communicator. He's the disciplinarian. He's the father. He's the love. He's everything. It's the most important role on every football team. So this guy can't be friends with everyone on Thursday and then on Sunday be mad and then change your tune. It becomes a disconnect. You can't do that. So he is trying to run something that his talent, that perfect example is it's in the tape never lies this week. It's them running the read option with Nick Foles. He goes like this, and Nick doesn't even read it right because he can't pull, Shawn. He can't pull it and run. He just gives it. And guess what? You watch it on the tape never lies. Everybody's just converging to Cordarrelle.
Running back.
Just boom. It's like, just give that play away. And think about this. In a team that is well coached like Zimmer, if you continue to just run your plays, they got you, right? Everyone knows. But then if you don't do anything different in regards to fundamentals, then you're screwed. And you saw that. It was the worst showcase of offense. -6 yards at the half. What was it? 100. You had a 104-yard kick return, and you had 120 yards of offense. You can't put it in the end zone. Your defense is Super Bowl caliber. You can't go out there in a NFL on Monday Night Football and continue to guess. You can't do it. You can't do it. And that's really what one play, Shawn. One play, they went out of the eye, offset eye. Lamar Miller's in the game. I think he got 2 plays.
Yeah.
2.
Action pass to him out of the eye. Freaking offensive line. Perfect job. They got a pocket. Foles looks deep. It's not there. Dumps it down to Lamar
Miller.
He runs up the field and gets 7 yards and a first down.
First down, yeah.
You know what? Guess what the next play is? Shotgun. Cordarrelle Patterson.
7 wide.
That's what I'm talking about. It's like, you got to understand what the flow, there's no rhythm.
And the thing is that and guys, we're joined by the draft doctor himself, Phil Toshin from the Tape Never Lies Network, talking Bears football right here on Shawn and Maya on SportsZone Chicago. And you have to understand that all your plays Some have to be sacrifices. Like, we're going to run this play, and we're going to continue to get this, 4 or 5 yards, because what's going to happen is, we're going to let the tight end sneak out later in the third quarter or fourth quarter when necessary. So we're going to keep doing it, and the defense is going to stop it, and they're going to be pumped up, they're going to be fired up, they're going to keep doing it, and get talking smack. But in the fourth quarter, when we need it, and we run the same play, and they've seen it 7 times, and it's going to be the same. Oh, there comes the tight end out right behind me, or here comes the fullback sneaking out, and now he's wide open, and now it kills them. That type of foresight, of big picture thinking, is what's missing. So
Exactly.
It's frustrating for you, for me, for Bear Nation, when that situation isn't there. So let's talk about Lamar Miller. Lamar Miller was a guy that I was excited to see. The guy was a Pro Bowler. The guy, he was a twitchy guy. Talk to me. Why do you think that he was 0 carries and only 2 catches is what he got? Why do you think that happened? Like, if it was Matt Nagy calling the plays, okay, I get it, I understand. But you had a new guy calling the plays, and and Bill Lazor. Like, wouldn't you try and get a guy? He's healthy, he's out there, so wouldn't you try and get him as many touches as possible?
Listen, I was watching the game. I couldn't understand it. There's toss plays to Cordarrelle Patterson that I document on the Tape Never Lies this week, where there's a crease, but he's not an instinctive back. He's not afraid. I'm not saying, and I say it on there, it's not like there's a lack of effort by this kid. He's running hard. He just doesn't have the innate instincts of an NFL running back that Lamar Miller does. So Lamar has done this for years down in Miami, Houston. They're running this stuff. You use that kind of instinct in the game. Instead, the carries went to Arterius Pierce, who on one toss play, he makes a great linebacker comes free, Shawn. It's like, this is what it is. Every play, there's a mess up. It's just what it is. I can't explain it. We got to freaking throw a party, almost a bachelor party, when they block it correctly. It's got to be a celebration, because it's never happened. And now, getting back to that play, the 54, what's his name? Hendrickson comes free. To Arterius's credit, he breaks out. The line's running. They're staying with their block. They're just in front of him. And the kid hits the corner. And instead of hitting it up in there, Shawn, he's walking out of bounds. He did his job. And that's the problem, because you got to be maniacal on a team that needs every smidgen of an inch of offense.
Inches are all around us.
Yes, you can't go out of bounds. You can't.
Got to fight for every inch.
So I'm looking at him, to your point, I'm like, Lamar Miller probably would have turned up, cut it back inside, and got it. There's another play. Inside zone. They actually block it decent. A back gets in it. Cordarrelle misses it. Cordarrelle misses it. So I don't know. Their personnel decisions, think about this. They had Jordan Howard. You're at 1st and goal at the 5, and somehow, this isn't new. Come on, guys. Let's not play the media. This is all happening now. I've been saying this for 3 years. This is an era of situational football and use of personnel and fundamentals. So let me go back to this point. Jordan Howard, you're back. 2nd back in the NFL, only to what's his name in Dallas?
Ezekiel
Elliott. You're 1st and goal at the 5. Guess who's in the game? Tariq Cohen. And it happened over and over and over again. They're not in the game. They're in the plays. You know, I know, as a play caller, as a head coach, you got to be in the game. What down is it? 3rd and 5. What front am I getting here? What front? God damn, what do they look like against trips? I'll go trips. We'll run freaking ISO and we'll run counter out of trips. Spread them out. There's nothing going on to get the running game an advantage. They're just boxing them in. You heard Greasy say it. My father said it that night. Every third down was a blitz. no matter what. They were coming at you because your offensive line can't communicate. They can't pick up extras. So what do you do, Shawn, as an offensive coordinator to combat a blitz that you know is coming? It's 3rd and 5. It's 3rd and 6. These aren't like 3rd and 19s. These 3rd manageable downs. We're like in this game against your rival. This guy hasn't won on Monday night in 9 or 10, whatever that is, on his back. They haven't been able to punt. They've had punts blocked. Every coaching error was made the other night, and they don't do it. They don't go 3-step drop, throw a slant. We know you're
hot route. Replace the heat. Where's the blitz coming from? If it's coming from the right, then you go right where that blitzer came from, and then there you go, and let your playmakers make the play.
They had guys open there too. They had guys open for it, not like all game long.
Wait till you see it. Wait till you see it on tape. Wait till you see it on tape, Ivan.
Yeah.
So then, Phil. So then, let me ask you, because here's the thing, and here's what a lot of people are talking about is because we're not sure exactly how, though it doesn't look as bad as it did, but with Nick Foles, how do you feel about them going back to Mitch to start this Green Bay game?
I think you have to go to Mitch because your offensive line, is so bad. It's so bad that somebody that's able to extend the dynamics of a play, like, for example, oh my God, I have Aja thinking about this play because if Nick Foles must be, forget about his hip. He's got to be hurting because he missed 3 touchdowns. He missed the touchdown to Jimmy Graham on the double seam. I love that. That was a great play design. You had the perfect man. You got Kenneth and Jimmy Graham flooding the seams. Now you put everybody on an island. All Foles has to do is step and throw it right to Graham. He throws it so far over his head. You miss a touchdown opportunity. So there you go. Then you had the goal line to what he's saying. Cordarrelle Patterson isn't chipping. You know the blitz is coming. He's looking left. He doesn't even look to the – it's the whole design. Is there blitz? Dump it to Patterson.
Exactly what you want. They're blitzing. Boom.
The second read is the slant, and Kenneth is wide open. Then the third down when he gets hit.
Yeah.
He's got Mooney right there. It was the easiest read. You pre-read that. So to me, these problems, and those are just 2. How about this one where he has the home run ball of home run balls? It's action. They run a fake toss, and then he rolls all the way to the right, throws back to Allen Robinson, threads that into triples. Remember that pass? Yeah. Robinson gets his feet down. Great throw. Yep. Great play. You watch. All he does, turn his head. Mooney wide open, run into the post. All he has to do is throw. All he has to do is throw it to the Bears helmet. Mooney's going to run under and catch it. No one there. He misses it. So this kind of stuff is the same crap that people, analysts, blog boys were all crucifying Mitch for doing. But guess what? Guess who ran Matt Nagy into the playoffs? Mitch and Jordan Howard that they traded out of town. The story is so vast for people to even comprehend of somebody who's a fraud. You can't hire play callers. You got to hire coaching, teachers, guys that are going to be great in the locker room. They don't need X's and O's. They need fundamentals and accountability. And then you surround yourself with people that know offense and the philosophy that you believe in, and you keep it simple, stupid, and you win. And you'll win with Mitch.
See, that's the thing, though, Phil. Like they coming in, you had Andy Reid saying that this guy's the most he's the most ready to be a head coach, and a whole bunch of bullshit about Matt Nagy that we're finding out that's BS now. But it just seems to me that, and it's a combination. We know it's Nagy and Pace because Ryan Pace gave Matt Nagy this island of misfit players that don't fit his system, and Matt Nagy has these plays that just don't work. So it's like. So you have these 2 fucking forces that aren't helping each other. They're just kind of really setting each other back. I don't know where you go from here because I thought Bill Lazor had no shot at being successful at being a play caller. Like not knowing that you're going to be the play caller with like the way Matt Nagy did it, just out of the blue. You didn't really know who was going to be the play caller.
You're not going to know. And then the next day,
I didn't even know that that Bill Lazor was going to be calling plays. So for me, I want to give him a pass, but it's the same shit. Like you said, it was the same crap. And you were saying you were texting it during the game. They started at the beginning of the game. They looked all right. We actually saw what a pocket was.
Right.
You know, and we actually saw a pocket, and then all of a sudden they just got tight. They got shrinkage. They shriveled up, and they just were.
I was in the pool.
You got that shrinkage, and it was true. Like you were saying, they can't recognize man or zone. First of all, you're not giving you I feel like condensing it.
Yeah.
Give your players enough space. You're not putting your playmakers in the open field. You're bringing them all within right here.
Third downs, Ivan.
When you condense people, what that does is that when you condense your formations and your splits, which is what happens, is that you got to remember if they're tighter, then that's less distance for a pass rusher to get to your quarterback. Exactly. And with the poor pass protection that they have, you don't want to give a pass rusher one step closer to your quarterback. You want to spread them out. Exactly. And they can have that extra step or two because that could be the extra half a second
especially
that he might make the right throw.
Those overloaded fronts, especially, you know how they've brought 6 one time, Shawn, and the Bears are running everybody out. No one is in the middle. And Nick is drop that play to Allen Robinson. He's dropping all the way because nobody. It's 3rd and 6, man. You see the overload. You got to have some sort of call. Tap your head. Fire. Whatever it is that the routes have to be in breaking based on what you're getting. And then if they drop out, then great. Now you become a quarterback in a pocket and you're allowed to read. But there's got to be preparedness over and over and over in regards to what's going on third downs. Football is such a great game of chess in regards to what it is you're trying to do. The Vikings were honestly being aggressive, and you did nothing to combat their aggressiveness on the football field. And you could have easily taken it and won that game. I swear it should have been 28-3 Bears. That's how much better you are, and that's how bad your coaching is. I saw the question. The Wildcat, you can't run the Wildcat with no threat. You can't jog, trot a receiver coming across, and he's not even at the mesh point. Now you're waiting. Where do you see J.P. Holtz? I mean, talk about stealing money. It's like on the freaking Wildcat, he goes like this and catches the guy. He's backed up into you got to watch the tape Never Lies this week just to watch my analysis of the Wildcat and how bad, wasted, embarrassing on Monday Night Football that is. League-wide, they're laughing. You're the laughing stock of the league because you have no clue what you're doing. There's nothing there. That gimmickry, you throw that out. You get in the I formation and you try to move the football as best as you can because right now it is swaggy Nagy no more. It's freaking go to the Goodwill Nagy. Return that. Put his whole thing at the Goodwill. It's so bad, Shawn. I can't make it up. I can't make it up.
It's atrocious. So I believe Nagy realizes that his seat is really hot.
My partner Shane says, I think he's coming back. I said, there's no goddamn way
you can't.
You can take this guy back, Shawn. Do you think? I mean, this is
man. I agree with Shane, man. I agree with Shane.
Oh my God!
This is why. You know who these people are. You know who's up in the front office. You know how this team works. Matt Nagy, if Matt Nagy gets to 8-8, he's back on the team. He's back on the team. And if he get honestly, I really feel like it's one win.
If he makes a 6 wins,
if he's at 7-9,
6. Give me 6.
If he's at 8-8, he'll be brought on, and it's because they don't want to. They want to save face. They don't want to continue to look so bad. So they want, I guarantee you, the Bears franchise wants a young Matt Nagy, a young head coach to work just as much as Matt Nagy and Ryan Pace want their bullshit to work. So
here's part of the issue, though, is that we're a national joke. Okay, and that's the problem. Is when you see, the clip that you played the other day with Dan Orlovsky and him talking about that, and everything he said was true. It seemed a little personal, but he wasn't lying. And so you hear that when you're a national joke, if you're a joke in Chicago, it doesn't matter but when you're the charter franchise and now you're a national joke, I think that's where George McCaskey it might be having an itchy trigger finger. I
hope.
But I hope so. You and me both.
Come on, Shawn.
The whole thing is what if Bill Lazor and so I'm kind of I don't know where I want the Bears to lose, but I hate it because I'm a huge Bear fan. But I want to lose because I don't want to go on. But what if Bill Lazor is able to, with the bye week, get rid of the Nagy's plays that he hates, incorporate some of his plays, and now that offense looks pretty darn good. Now
Packers. I guess the Packers, maybe
the Packers might not have film on some of Lazor's plays. That's the advantage we have.
Listen, this is, say what you want. We talked about it the last time I was on the show. The McCaskey family, it's not going to change. We've heard these things until Virginia passes on. The family's all coming in on the first of the month. It's the first of the month. Wake up. They're coming for the check. They're getting paid. Winning isn't the priority. We understand that. It's unfortunate, but that's keeping it 100. So until it is, now I heard through the grapevine, through my sources, that George was so pissed off about the loss to the Vikings on Monday night in the fashion that it was. Good. I hope you are. But let's keep it 100 here. Nothing pisses off the McCaskies more than, a loss to Green Bay. And guess what? Who's up next? With 2 weeks to prepare. 2 weeks to prepare to play your rival in front of the national audience. They're not changing that game. You're 5-5. You've been terrible in regards to what you've put on the field. You have come here as an offensive genius, guru, all these things. You won Coach of the Year. That doesn't mean anything. Dick Duran was Coach of the Year.
Yep.
There's a plenty. I can go down a list of coaches of the year that are out. They're nothing.
Yep.
So here's the litmus test. Your rival, 2 weeks to prepare. Mitch Trubisky, is he healthy? Nick Foles, is he healthy? You as the head coach, you're going to show me, Shawn, and Ivan, and everybody that bleeds blue, orange, and white who you are as a coach right there. We know you tried to put it on Mitch. I'm keeping it 100.
Mm-hmm.
I was hard on Mitch and I'm hard on Nick. I've just talked the truth of what I see. But I never thought that Mitch was the problem. I thought it was the right move against the Falcons to pull them out of that game. And sure enough, they won. But from there, you have to sit down with your staff and make the right decision about Mitch. And if he won the competition truly as a head coach, and me and my father talked about this, me and several other coaches I respect talked about this, that kid didn't deserve to be benched entirely when you replaced him. So that's not past history. That's just the reality. I'm rolling with Nagy. I want to see it play out. And you saw where we are. We talked about 2.2. Right now, you're going against Green Bay. What are you going to do? Matt Nagy? How are you going to do? Because I really believe he's going to be calling the plays and he's going to make that crossroads choice because Nick's injury isn't as serious as they were describing it to be. And I want to read this tweet that is very telling. I didn't get to it last night on our show, so I want to share it in my brother's show. This is from Adam Hogue. You ready for this, Shawn?
Mm-hmm.
He's quoting Bears offensive line coach Juan Castillo said, coaches just looked at some of the run schemes they used early in the season and, quote, we're going to talk about it as a staff because there are some schemes that we've had some success in. Just talk about those and maybe doing those a little bit more. Well, gosh darn it, golly me. This is the NFL. I kid you not. This is
We had some
week.
success.
What? This is
So
week 11.
Let's want to run those again.
Oh man!
Can you imagine? This is real.
Yeah,
This,
you can't make this up.
No,
you can't make this nonsense up.
When I read that, I sent it to a former captain of the Chicago Bears, and they're like, "We got some serious." Exactly. That right there. All these little cracks, chinks in the armor are leaking, and it just points to a coach. Listen, Matt Nagy, the man, the father, the person, just putting some context here, is probably an amazing guy, a good person. This is not what it's about for me. I don't think I've caught him in several lies. I've seen him in his game plans and how he uses personnel. And let me just tell you, skip the bullshit. He's not the guy. You gotta, like, no matter what, like when I get like this with Mark Trestman. I get like this with freaking John Fox. I started a whole hashtag Fire Fox. I wrote a song about get rid of it because I knew it was done. You couldn't do it. And I'm so tired. I'm tired of being the Jets. I'm tired of being the laughing stock. You get that 1 year where like, we got it. We don't got nothing. You're back into the purgatory of football. It's a pandemic.
I feel like we're a little worse than the Jets, Phil, because at least the Jets have something to look forward to in the #1 draft pick. I don't feel like we have anything to look forward to coming up. What makes? I mean,
you don't trust pace, is what
exactly.
you're saying.
What makes us think there's going to be something good in that first round? I mean, and if there is something good that comes of it, where do we go from right here, right now, where we know we're lacking on depth and starters in the offensive line? You know what I'm saying? Like we're lacking in a whole area, a whole department of your offense is lacking in all that, and it's
the fundamentals aren't there, Ivan. The fundamentals aren't there. And they're not taught. I don't care. These guys could be the best offensive linemen you've ever known with talent. And if they're not prepared and held accountable and coached appropriately, like this tweet is unveiling, like how does that even happen in the NFL that we're going to go back, look at what we did before, and maybe, just maybe, turn back to doing that? You should have established your identity of what you do good instead of saying, I didn't come here to run the eye. I didn't come here to run the eye. And having this arrogance and this stupidity where it all goes back to do what your players do best. That's what a coach does. That's what a genius doesn't have to be in football. You don't need, I've been around coaches that are brilliant in X's and O's, but guess what? They get out there to teach what they want them to do and they can't communicate it. They can't hold players accountable because they're good at writing on the board. That doesn't work. You got to go out there and teach it. You got to make it fun. You got to bust some balls out there and put people on Front Street so they don't get it right. There's no accountability there. I put more accountability on my tape Never Lies every week on that offensive line than they're doing over there in my guess. Like, I don't know what's going on. Zach Miller pushed back on me and said, no, Nagy's hard. Nagy's this. I'm not going to argue with him. He was there as an advisor in that role. What I see though, Shawn, what you see, what other players see is a shoe salesman, like I say.
But you know what? When you say that, like we're good football minds. We understand it. So you can tell me everything you want to say while I was in the room, okay, but that's not what's going. That's not what we're seeing on tape. That's not what we're seeing every Sunday. So how much of your job is predicated on you saying the right things? How much do you get a paycheck from them? Are you close with them? Because that could cloud your judgment big time. Mm-hmm. And when you push back, like, look, if all these things are working, and then there wouldn't be all these problems that we're having. So you sitting there telling me, oh, Matt Nagy's full of shit is what he is. Yeah. And I called him from year one when he refused to play my guy Jordan Howard. I'm like, this is bullshit. You don't do that. He's not your type of running back. I get it. I understand it. I respect it. But it doesn't mean he's not a good running back. And use him until you get what you want. And he didn't do that. So Zach Miller, how much loyalty does he have to the organization? How much, because, you can't tell me after, the amount of football experience that I've had and that you've had, okay, you're not going to sit there, look me in the eye, piss on my shoes and tell me it's raining. I'm not buying it. All right. I'm not buying it. Okay. Because I see what the hell goes on, what happens every Sunday. I see when don't say that that's a negative question. Don't say no. Answer the damn question. You know what? Because as fans, we're frustrated as well. And this guy, one of the things that we talked about, we need pace to go. But whoever we bring in here, we need somebody who's passionate about the job. You're going to make your millions. Who the hell cares? You're going to make millions. But we need somebody whose desire is not to make the millions, whose desire is to get the Bears back to respectability and not be the laughing stock of the National Football League, where you're talking about get up. They're talking about the Bears on get up at 7:00 in the morning over here and how bad this team is. And we need somebody who's passionate about getting this team back to the year. Unfortunately, it's only been 1 year, one Super Bowl, but the history and the lore. And if we can find that guy, and I think
championship.
There's a couple guys.
This team was the Yankees back in the day. They were the freaking Yankees.
That's what I was saying. You can't overlook the championships that George Halas. He was maniacal. He was a dictator. He was in your face. He wanted to, he hired people that were smart around him. Say what you want. He was the reason there is an NFL. So we haven't had a maniac at coach since Ditka. Let's just be honest. No. That's the truth. And what did Ditka do? He won a Super Bowl, but every year you were in the freaking playoffs. Even 92, they were in the playoffs with Harbaugh. This football coach has to be the right person for the job. He's got to be somebody.
Can you say that again, Phil? Football person. Say that again for all the people in the back who didn't hear you.
It's got to be a football person.
Thank you.
You can't have Ernie Accorsi helping you, the charter franchise, who to hire. You can't do that. You can't. You have to go in your heart. Know who the football people are yourself. You've been in this business for 101 years.
Been in this game for years.
Come on. Get somebody that's a football person, not Ernie Accorsi and some corporate communications world of business to help you find football people. No, that's not how you find the right person for the job. You get a football person. You get alumni. You get people that like Gary Fensick, Doug Plank, Mike Singletary. You can go
Tina
on
Tillman. Yes.
Tina Tillman. Who do you? Those are the people. Olin Kreutz. You bring him in here. Olin don't want to say it. He's like Harry. He's stand probably. I know Olin. He ain't gonna say it. I can just sense it. He's like, Harry was a scapegoat to this bullshit. Harry's probably like, oh, same old fucking shit that they're doing out there. They can't block no one. He tried to put it on me. You don't turn shoulders on an outside zone. You never do. Guess what that does? It makes you small, like a 2x4. Anybody can go through the 2x4. Can you go through the freaking sheetrock? No. That's simple coaching. Keep your shoulders square. These things aren't happening with the Matt Nagy team.
No,
you're not getting that shit on 670 The Score. You're not getting it on anywhere else except here. You're getting football reality. You're getting a smack right in the face of reality. This isn't, let's blame Pace. Let's blame Ted Phillips. Yes, those things are big points. But at the end of the day, you got what you got on the field. And it's so important that every nerd, every blog boy, every person that's a writer understands that what's going on in the football field at the end of the day is what you have, and it's not being coached right. Bingo. You can win with this talent
offensive
here.
Line. Yes,
you can. I swear to God, you could do it. I know it. I've seen it. The difference is they're allowing, I missed the block. Oh, we're going to run bubbles. We're going to try Wildcat. These things you do when you're the Patriots who have an identity. Then you could go out there and put a running back in and run the Wildcat and attack downhill. You can have Cam Newton do it. You don't have Nick Foles out there. Where do you see Nick Foles?
You're not even good at your regular
receiver. He's a receiver. He walks out. He lets the corner. He doesn't even get in the way. Woo! This is. I'm like, you might as well just punt there.
Phil,
Just
they're not
punt.
even good at they're not even good at the regular plays.
Exactly.
Like Wildcat and shit.
Now all of a sudden the bars is gonna pull. Where do you see it, Shawn? It's like this is Keystone Cops. It's like Oscar the Grouch and Big Bird and the freaking whole Sesame Street went out there and tried to replay a Bears game. It's so that's like the most ridiculous thing ever. It's so
here's how you fix this. Is that you start with the offensive line. Okay.
Yeah.
You don't have first rounders. Okay. And you're not going to get first rounders the rest of the season because you're stuck. You got what you got. But if you go back and you hammer, and if Juan Castillo is the guy that you said, and he's the offensive line, guru too, then then here's what you do. You go back to the God blessed basics. You go back to the God blessed basics, and I guarantee you, this run game that is non-existent. I don't care who the freak you have back there. You're going to start seeing 3 and 4 or 5 yards a pop, okay, until Montgomery can come back, and then we'll start seeing more. But if you get that offensive line blocking fundamentally, and then picking up stupid high school twists that they can't seem to pick up,
oh my God,
okay, and that you anticipate. I forgot who it was. Was it a Fetty? Who anticipated a guy was coming in and then the other guy came in. No, you kick step. Who comes to you is who comes to you. Don't assume who's going to go get. He's coming. Do that. Get them doing the basics, and this thing changes. So Juan Castillo, you're the O-line whisperer, okay? Because apparently Harry Heastand sucked, so you had to go get you out of retirement. You had to get you out of retirement. So then here's what you need to do. So he's got his feet got to be held to the fire, because don't worry about the calls, the play calls in this. If they don't block it, I don't give a damn what's called. It's not working. Period.
Amazing facts. They blow your mind. Look,
hey, listen, guys, we got to get out of here. Phil, thanks so much, dude. I love talking football with you every week, man. I love it. I love it. I love it. You get fired up. I get fired up because we know what the hell we're talking about.
Right.
Because we know how we're talking about.
I try to bring passion to my boys. You know how much I love you guys. Let me just say this real quick. Can I send
shameless plug, please?
Shameless plug. The tape never lies. Become a patron and get 43 minutes of analysis on the whole game, coaching clinic, on what they're doing out there. Ivan, I know you're a subscriber. You could give me a plug. I mean, are you enjoying what we're doing over there?
Oh, it's the best, man. It's like I said, when I first saw Phil, it was a week 2, I think, a Denver game where Eddie Pinheiro kicked the game winner last year. And I'm sitting there and I'm just going off, and my brother's looking at me like I'm crazy because he's like, they won the game. I'm like, yeah, but they look like shit.
Right.
And I went ahead and I'm just like combing the internet, and I just ran into the first thing that came up, because I'm pretty sure they were listening to me. But first thing that popped up was a tape never lies, and I was like, all right, let me see this, because I've seen a few other ones that are just kind of like, all right, yeah, I don't want to hear you. You don't make sense or something like that. But Phil, hammer to nail, just right on the head, and it was on and popping from there. Like I said, it's the breakdown, the passion. It's everything that you want as a Bears fan. Like you're getting quality. You're not sitting there just watching somebody draw on the screen or stop and go. You're learning football, and that's why I love it.
I appreciate that. I'm sorry I put you on the spot, but Shawn, I love you guys as brothers. Like we've built this relationship, and we're going to continue to build it. I can't thank you guys enough. I know a bunch of our fans from our network have now crossed the bridge over to here, and they love you guys and what you're doing, because nobody keeps it real like the Superback and Ivan, and that's really a testament to what you guys are doing here. I can't wait to someday meet the infamous Maya. I gotta I gotta meet this one.
Hey, her name Maya, but she got a nickname too. It's Lil Savage.
Lil Savage. We might need her in the offensive line room. No offense to her. I don't know. I'm just saying we need a Savage up there to get that passion up there, because that's really one of the things they're lacking. And I know our swag shop has opened up, and we're going to have a special announcement over the weekend for patrons. And that's really such a great time talking football with you guys. And thank you for promoting us over there. And we try to do the same here. Actually, I got to do a better job. I always quote my man, Shawn, but I got to send some people over here to watch these shows. And I know I share these shows every time to everybody. So you guys keep doing what you're doing, because it matters. Just like, how you feeling, Big Pop? Got to check in with you.
I'm feeling good, man. I'm feeling good. We'll talk about it a little off the air, but yeah, I'll get I should get some information, some more information today. So we're doing good.
That's all that matters, man. Love you guys.
Hey, you're the best. Listen, I want to thank our guest Kenneth Davis. I want to thank Joseph Phillips for coming on, as they always do. Fred Pfeiffer, See Red Fred, talking Bulls basketball.
Fred.
Yeah,
I heard about this guy.
Yeah, he's good
Like
stuff.
Greg Bragg's his rival, my boy Greg.
Yep. I want to thank Lance Irvin. He is the men's basketball coach at Chicago State. Also, the co-host of one of our shows, What's Up, Cuz. And I want to thank my man, the draft doctor himself, DDP himself, baby. DDP himself, Phil Latoshin, for coming on. Got to thank my executive producer, Elliot Baez, my social media posting guru himself, Clarence Council, my co-host in absentia today, Maya Kai, and of course the man, the Wiz, that we call the Wiz, my Puerto Rican Swiss Army knife himself, Ivan Vargas. All you guys made it a great show. We appreciate it. Listen, we're going to take a 69-hour break, and we will see you on Monday. Same bat time, same bat channel, 9 a.m. to noon Central Standard Time. So until then, follow us on our YouTube page, subscribe to our YouTube page, follow us on Facebook, and also download the app, SportsZone Chicago. So for my Puerto Rican Swiss Army knife, Ivan Vargas.
Hey, go watch some good football this weekend, seeing as the Bears offense isn't on the field.
And my guy himself, the draft doctor, Phil Latoshin.
Yes, you gotta enjoy the weekend. College, NFL football, rake some leaves, get the yard done for the wife. It's that weekend. Maybe there's a wedding that was able to fit in this weekend.
Because you can never have too many cool points with the missus ever.
Exactly. This is your husband's and boyfriend's weekend.
It's the honeydew weekend.
Yeah, honeydew. Take her out to dinner. Like, you have Bears Packers misery coming up. So enjoy this weekend.
Don't bother sorrow from tomorrow. That's
there we go.
There you go.
I'm your boy, the Superback Shawn Sierra, and we will see you on Monday. I got 2 more words for you. We out.